I'm stealing the $1 million inheritance for myself. I don't care about my poor family. Am I the a-hole?
You gotta get away from poor people so you can be rich.
My sister, 40 female, and I, 34 male, recently lost our last remaining parent. We were both devastated, but regardless, all the logistics needed to be worked out. Our parents were very clear in their will that our inheritance and all property are split evenly between us. It's to the tune of around $1 million. Here is where the problem starts. I am gay. I guess we'll see. I live with my partner, who I'm not married to, across the country from the rest of my family. My sister and her husband have 3 small kids under 11. My sister said, since it's highly unlikely that I will ever have kids, which still remains to be seen, I haven't decided on that
Yeah,
yet.
you can adopt.
And because I live a comfortable life currently, that I should take at least a quarter of my inheritance money and open bank accounts to give it to her kids.
What?
Take your money, give it to me. Instead of using her own money to do that, she wants to buy a McMansion to get out of their smaller, cramped house.
Shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me?
Basically, she was implying that her and her family need the money more than I do since they're married with kids and I'm not. She thinks my parents were unfair when they created the will and that I should do the right thing and make up for their mistake.
Well, take it up with them then. Get that Ouija board out.
Hey, mom and dad.
Are you in the room?
Are you in there? Our family is split on this issue. My brother-in-law is obviously on my sister's side and says that I'm being greedy and don't care about my nieces and nephews' future. Our aunts and uncles and cousins all have different opinions, with the more homophobic side of the family saying that I am being a greedy asshole. This is causing a major rift, and I'm worried that eventually she'll cut me off and won't let me have a relationship with the kids anymore. Part of me thinks maybe they do need the money more than me. Maybe I should just let the money go. Am I the a-hole?
No, not at all. It's a ridiculous request to ask.
It's happened a million times on the show.
Yeah.
They're disrespecting the deceased's
wishes.
wishes.
Of the deceased. Though OP is not the a-hole, I think what it really comes down to is like, are you willing to part with some of the money to guarantee that you have a relationship going forward, even though they're completely wrong?
It's a good question.
Because if you are actually worried that they might cut you off, and you don't want them to happen, maybe the price is worth it, but also what kind of family member is going to cut you off over money? Is that family that you want to keep?
Money that your parents wanted you to have.
Yeah, it's a pretty shitty situation.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think it's up to you, OP. You're not the a-hole. Choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What would you do in OP's situation? Would you go no contact? Would you stop talking to your sister? Would you just put firmly down?
Let us know. And I'd also love any crazy sibling stories. If you guys want to put story time in, we're trying to read more of your YouTube comments. So put that in the comments below. But speaking of stories,
we're going to get into the next one. How do I, male 40, tell my kids, female 12, 15, 17, that my infidelity is the reason for the divorce? This is OKOP, home of the crazy stories on earth. I'm Sam John. Sophia, how does OP tell this terrible news?
goes to the kids and says, my infidelity is the reason for the divorce.
Yeah, I feel like that's
And here's
how
the
you do
video.
Oh, God.
All right. So this original post happened December 28th, 2023. So not that long ago.
Not too long ago.
I'm here for genuine advice, looking especially for advice from people who have been the child in the situation. I know I screwed up. I don't need anyone to tell me again. 2 years ago, my ex-wife, female 40, found out I had been cheating with my current girlfriend, female 29, and immediately divorced me. We had a very civil split and both agreed not to tell our girls about what led to it. A year ago, my girlfriend and I started renting walking distance from my ex-wife. This has muddled our 50-50 custody agreement, as my girls sometimes come over while on their mom's week and sometimes go to their mom's on my week. They basically come and go as they please from both homes, but generally sleep at the custodial parent's house. So they have that split 50-50 custody, but
Right.
it's not like you can only stay with me during this time period.
Yeah.
They want it to be cordial. My girlfriend has recently taken issue with this. She doesn't like that they come over without asking and that we get no kid-free time.
She's got to deal with it. He's a parent.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
If you can't handle the heat, don't date a married man.
If you break it, you buy it,
Yeah.
and you buy all the pieces that come with it, including the kids.
If you mess up the bed, you got to sleep in it.
Oh, yeah.
How many more do we got?
She asked me to enforce a boundary with the girls, that they cannot come over on their mom's weeks unless we explicitly invite them.
Ew.
Just get rid of those kids.
Imagine going to the kids, hey, scram!
What are you doing here? Out out of here.
I told her, okay, I try to talk to the kids and make sure they know they're not welcome.
Whoa.
Just kidding. I told her absolutely not.
Yeah, thank you.
I pay 100% of her living expenses, and I'm not going to make my girls feel unwelcome in a house I pay for. She then made a comment that maybe they wouldn't want to come over anymore if they knew what I had done and with who. There's a lot more.
High and mighty.
Really quick.
Ooh.
Is this a red flag?
Yeah.
Sophia, catch.
Give me my red flag. Ah!
Oh.
No.
Sophia, are you saying that's a green flag?
Wait.
Okay.
Red flag. Why?
Red flag. Because again, if you're going to cheat or have an affair with a guy who has kids, then you gotta deal with the fact that he has kids.
Yeah.
Or in any relationship, if the person has kids, you have to accept them. They don't have to be you don't have to accept them as your own kids, but you still have to realize that they come before you.
John, what is the reason for your red flag?
Can't have your cake and eat it too. Another metaphor.
Another banger.
Yeah, it's kind of a classic thing of oh, hey, I got to steal you away, but I just want you to myself and give me exactly what I want. It's we can't.
Yeah. Also, why is OP still with this person?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the values of OP probably a little compromised.
Yeah.
If you're cheating on your wife, but if someone's trying to get between you and your kids
That
and
end of a relationship.
threatening,
Yeah.
that was a threat.
Yeah.
That was a threat.
You're
that
so
threat
right.
was, I am going to tell your kids
Unless you limit your relationship.
unless
with
you
them.
limit the relationship with them.
Yeah.
One simple question that must be answered. How big is the dad's shoe size?
Wait, why? Why is that relevant?
Why is that relevant, Riley?
Because if she's willing to go through all this, and he's got to be packing.
He's rich too, though.
Wait, what is she going
Exactly.
through?
She's like, you asked why is he still in the relationship? Probably because he's rich and...
No, wait. Why is he still in the relationship?
Oh! Because she has a small foot size? Or no foot size?
Put F's in the chat.
She has
F's
no
in the
foot
chat
size.
for
I've
L's in the chat for
decided
Riley.
it's time for them to know the truth. I can't have this threat hanging over me. Why are you with her? Why are you with
Yeah,
her?
get out of here. She's blackmailing you.
How can I do this? What do I say? Do I involve a third party? Should their mom be there? I just don't know how to admit I blew up all our lives for nothing. Has anyone gone through this with their father and came out with an intact relationship? And edit, just breaking up with my girlfriend is not the solution to this. I'm afraid she will tell them out of spite whether we are together or not.
I think you have to tell
And there are some
the
relevant
kids
comments.
regardless. But I
does
think
he
also
break up first?
Yes.
Because if he breaks up first, then she immediately tells.
I think tell the kids, then break up with her.
Yeah, because you run the risk of her controlling the narrative,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because how is she going to tell
Paint
them
you the
versus how
picture.
he's
Yeah.
going to tell
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, he has to tell first, then
Yeah.
break up. But how does he tell?
I think literally just I cheated on your mom
With this woman?
With this woman.
I've realized
and
that she is a witch.
No, I've realized that I made a mistake, and something like that.
And never cheat on your partners.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
But let's get into the relevant comments. So Candid Swordfish 522 says, she sounds like she doesn't understand you had a family before you hooked up with her and what being a parent entails. She sounds selfish. Her threatening to tell your girls, that is awful and malicious. Also, she sounds very, I don't know, immature.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also 29 too, so she's on the younger side, but that's old
Yeah.
enough to know
Oh, yeah.
right and wrong. The pain she would cause them is unnecessary. My ex-husband cheated on me a lot, and to this day, my adult children do not know that. They don't need to know that. Their dad may have hurt me and broke up our family, but I already processed the pain from the cheating. They don't need to go through it themselves.
Wait. Oh, this is a comment.
Is a comment.
I was
Yes.
like,
You have to
what?
ask yourself if you really like someone that would be willing to hurt your kids so she can have her way. Planning date nights and keeping those plans would have been an easy thing to ask for. When you have kids, privacy is really not super existent. You can still prioritize time with her without creating a shitstorm with your kid. She doesn't sound mature enough to properly have a conversation about making some time for you guys to have dates and spend time together without asking you to enforce the kids staying with their mom on her time, unfortunately. Not to mention, you both hooked up when you were married originally. Not only did you step out, she was okay being the side chick. That says something about her character,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is kind of what we said before.
Yes.
Oh,
Life isn't a competition to see if you will pick her first. First, it was your wife she was competing with. Now she has an issue with your kids. And OP does respond. But I totally...
What a great breakdown.
Dang.
Yeah.
OP says the problem is that during the first 6 months of our affair before my ex found out I was a shitty father. I would go on business trips all the time and was basically an absent father. I think she expected I would be a weekend dad rather than want 50-50 custody, and it was a shock to her to spend much less time with me than before our affair was discovered. And so like basically like the girlfriend is like, wait, I thought you were just gonna hang out with your kids like a little bit. I didn't know you were always gonna hang out with them, because when we were hooking up, you barely saw them at all.
Yikes.
So I will be breaking up with her for a multitude of reasons, but her understanding of our family dynamic, i.e. me never being around, has contributed to this, as her expectations were based on a version of a father I didn't want to continue being.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some more relevant comments.
Alrighty.
And a juicy update. Hello, Junebug says, even when you tell your girls you should still break up with your girlfriend, she sounds like a monster and threats prove she's a shitty person. Why isn't she contributing to bills? That's another good question.
Another good question.
I will be breaking up with her regardless. She's not contributing to bills because it's always been that way. I'm not stupid. A hot 26-year-old doesn't hook up with a balding old guy nearing 40s for his personality. Damn.
Whoa.
This has always been a transactional relationship, but I stayed because I felt like at least I lost my family for something. People have said, well, at least they're still together / they were meant to be, etc., which makes it seem less bad. Somehow, I'm aware this is stupid. That is so sad.
Oh, God.
Dang.
Damn. Jay Edward says, probably need to know why you cheated before we can come to a solid answer. Dead bedroom, out of love, sexually incompatible. OP responds, I don't think it matters, but none of the above. I've been with my ex-wife since we were 13. Damn. And our relationship was generally great even almost 25 years later. In therapy the past year, I realized that my problem that she has always been better than me at everything growing up and into adulthood. Better at sports, got better grades, I guess like in middle school and high school, got into a better school, better scholarship, better job, better parent, etc. At the time, she was also frustrated with me because I refused to leave my workplace for a job that paid significantly more. She never made me feel inferior, but I myself felt that I wasn't enough for her. My fault, not hers. When I met my girlfriend, I felt superior to her because I had more money and was more educated / intelligent and had more materialistic things, and it was an intoxicating feeling. Even though I knew she was attracted to my money in my value system, I was still superior and had the upper hand, so to speak. I felt like a big man. It's pathetic, and I'm trying to unlearn the way I think about people's worth. Secondary to that, she's not more attractive than my ex-wife physically, but I had only been with 2 people, and the second one was a one-night stand when we broke up briefly at 21. She was very interested in me / persistent and decently attractive, and that coupled with my ego led to this affair. Not an excuse, it's something that could have been prevented by communication / therapy. I was a different person a few years back. And there is an update at the day of January 1st, 2024.
Wow.
The time for New Year's resolutions.
Happy birthday, Ice
New
Spice.
year, new me. Happy birthday, who?
Ice
Ice
Spice.
Spice. Riley knows a lot of facts about Ice Spice.
What do you think of that advice so far?
Oh, man. Like, it's just kind of just a little wild to hear him like break it down. But I think he is right.
At least he's self-aware.
He's so self-aware.
Yeah.
Like he really kind of took the blame and like owned up to it.
Yeah.
I think honestly he could show his kids this Reddit post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah,
like
dude.
That
Just
is
send a
true.
link.
Yeah.
Done.
or read it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. So the one thing we're not 100% clear on is what progress he's made. He does seem very self-aware. I will 100% give him that. But like only now is he leaving this woman.
Yeah, the fact that he
2 years, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
2 years?
He's been with her for 2 years after the split.
Well, see, they met at 26, and I think she is
She's
now-
29 right
so
now.
almost
Yeah,
3.
so almost 3.
Almost 3. So I'm like, cool, but dang, buddy, what took you so
Yeah,
long?
dude.
Are your actions?
Yeah. Where's the
Yeah.
action? Where's the
Yeah.
action?
True.
So, conspiracy theory. What do you think is going to happen? Is he going to tell his girls for this New Year's resolution? Is he going to break up with the girlfriend? What is going to change? What is your theory?
I think that he is going to tell the girls and that, you know what? I'm going to go big or go home.
Yeah. Yes.
Gets back together with the ex. But
Parent trap.
Parent trap
I honestly don't want that to happen.
for the exes.
yeah.
Yeah, because like great that he's, figuring himself out, but too little too late.
And she probably went through such a grieving period
Yeah.
and gave him a pretty dang sweetheart deal.
Pretty good deal, 50-50 custody.
Didn't
yeah.
tell the children.
It's
That
also-
to me is the biggest
yeah.
thing. Is like, yo, you get to stay like golden dad
Yeah.
in their eyes
And went 50-50
Yeah.
and win 50
on custody.
I don't think they're good together, but I think he is growing.
He is growing. I don't know. I kind of like the fairy tale ending, even though he doesn't deserve it.
I'm going all the way.
You're just saying
going
it
all the
to
way.
say it.
I'm saying it to say it.
But let's see what is actually said and go back to reality. So this is January 1st. I took everyone's advice and involved my ex-wife in the situation. Safe to say she was pissed off at my poor choice in partners and having to deal with this BS. But we got together with the girls at ex-wife's house and told them. Many of you suspected, the girls already knew.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, why else would your parents break up so abruptly, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because they say like, oh, just weren't the right fit or whatever.
Also, the girls are 12, 15, and 17.
I feel like that's old enough to be like, oh,
They're
something's
like,
up.
Dad, we know.
Dad's on a business trip again?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is he? Well, you guys would be wrong. Incorrect. Apparently, they thought we broke up because of my job and my refusal to accept a new one. We did not lie to them during the divorce and tell them an untrue reason. We just told them that the relationship issues are private and we would be willing to have a discussion when they were all adults. So thankfully, there was no trust lost in my ex-wife, which some of you were concerned about. All the girls were incredibly upset. Natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you react?
I'd be very upset.
I'd be pretty
Yeah,
upset.
I'd be
Yeah.
pissed too.
Yeah.
Especially at like 15, 17.
Oh,
yeah.
They were being cordial with my girlfriend because their mom encouraged them to be civil, but apparently hated her. They couldn't believe I would give up my wife for her, our family, and their stability, which is fair. They were refusing to see me now. My ex and I are going to get them into some therapy, and I'm hopeful that over time we can rebuild a relationship.
Mhm.
Rough,
Yeah, that's hard.
but deserved.
I think you needed to do it.
And this is growth. This is what growth looks like.
Yeah.
100%.
These are the growth. These are the pains of your actions catching up to you, but like a good way.
Yes.
You know, and coming clean. Like this is what
Yeah.
has to happen.
And I think it'll take your kids like some time to reckon with it.
And
but
process.
you know, yeah.
My oldest is furious and has sent me some scathing messages and then blocked me. So I'm really concerned about her and I. I miss some of her huge life events due to my affair, and I think that will be hard for her to forgive. As for the girlfriend, we're getting married. No, okay.
Oh, I was like,
I love figuring you guys out. She is gone, plain and simple. She has her next partner lined up and is moving to be with him.
whoa.
Of course.
She's got a roster. If she's willing to do it to
Immediately?
you,
Immediately.
she'll do it to someone else.
I can't say I'm hurt about that, which shows me how little I cared for her. I just feel relieved. A bunch of you suggested getting back with my ex-wife, which is what John wanted, his fairy tale
I
wedding.
didn't say that's what I wanted.
It's what
I said.
John
I
said he
predicted.
absolutely did
Yeah.
nothing wrong and wanted OP to get back
This
with
is
his
fake
wife.
You
news.
heard it here.
This is
Oh,
AI.
You heard it here first. Unfortunately, that topic is breached when the affair was discovered, and she was/is 100% uninterested. She takes her job as a mom very seriously, and in her mind, the girls would eventually know, and it would be setting a bad example for them to take back a cheater. Even independently of that, cheating has always been a deal breaker for her.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't even cross my mind for the example set for the girls.
Yeah.
The mom sounds great.
Saint.
Yeah.
Angel.
Yeah. I feel bad as she was planning on moving her partner in, and now she feels like she has to delay it until the girls are in a better place.
Aw.
Because she's been dating someone. She was really angry with me, especially for that reason. In her anger, she's also let it slip that her and her partner are planning on marrying in the next few years and having another child. She's never shared anything personal with me in the past, allowing me to meet her partner before the girls did. So that was a shock to me. I'm trying to process that information. That hurts me more than my girlfriend cheating and leaving, which tells me I have a lot more work to do in getting over her. There is a permanence in her marrying that I am not prepared for. It's like it really, the door is completely closing.
Mhm.
That's hard. It's been a sobering experience for me. Thank you to everyone who legitimately gave me advice. It was very helpful. If I could, in turn, offer some advice, don't cheat on your partner.
What, really?
Yeah.
Wait.
That's
Thank
some great
you.
advice.
Wow.
The grass is greener where you water it. And if I had taken the time, effort, energy I gave my affair partner and invested it in myself and my wife, I would be incredibly happy right now. And as a side note, to all the men messaging, commenting, congratulating me for getting a younger woman, that shit doesn't matter. I've never looked at my ex-wife and thought she was old or unattractive. And she was better in bed than my ex-girlfriend. This had nothing to do with getting a younger woman / trading my wife in. It had to do with a self-destructive ego that has led to the most important people in my life hating me. All that shit is irrelevant. Don't get caught up in it.
Oh.
And that is
Well.
where it ends.
If there's a cautionary tale, if I've ever
Yeah.
heard one.
Wow. The self-awareness is great.
Yeah, great.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, hopefully he finds love again and is a
Yeah.
better person because
Yeah.
of this. But
No, I think this was a learning experience for him. And I'm glad he learned something.
you cannot say man didn't learn.
Yeah.
Man
He
learned.
did learn.
Yeah.
Man
He did
learned.
learn. Yes.
A little too late, but he learned.
Too little, too late. But
Hey,
yeah.
but you know, it's never too late. I mean, well,
Now it is, ladies and gentlemen.
maybe a little.
Yeah.
But you know what? It actually isn't too late for.
Maybe hitting this next story.
That is
from
correct.
the back.
Let's get into it.
Whoa.
Oh, goodness gracious. So.
Indignation.
By the asshole for not changing my son's name and making him lose out on big money.
Yeah.
I, 24, got pregnant while I was taking a gap year traveling. I met an older guy, nothing gross. I was 19. He was 23. We had fun. I was working in a bar to make money while I explored his city. When I got pregnant, he lost interest really quickly. I understood, but I am pro-choice and I chose not to terminate. I went home and had my son. I also made sure to get child support. He could afford it. He did fight it though. I had to prove paternity and everything. Through that, his parents found out. They are well off. They have met my son and they truly do seem to love him. They had provided gifts for his birthday and Christmas. They helped me with extra money so I could complete university without going to debt. They've taken us on vacation with them so they could spend time with him.
Wow.
They aren't my biggest fans, but we are cordial with each other.
That's an interesting plot twist.
3 months ago, my son's father passed away.
Oh my gosh.
He got drunk at his bachelor party, tripped and fell on the sidewalk and hit his head.
Oh my God.
Riley, are you laughing right now?
That's horrible.
Why are you laughing? My son and I attended the funeral. We spent a week in that city so his grandparents could see him. They approached me with an offer. They had no other children or grandchildren. Their son was only 28, so he had lots of time to provide them legitimate kids. They did not say this, I'm just assuming. So they never thought about my son's name. They said if I changed his surname to theirs legally, they would make him their primary heir.
Whoa. This could be big.
I think this is dumb. He is their only grandchild, and they would deny him an inheritance because of his last name.
Right. Shouldn't you just give it anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I would consider it to be polite and have left it at that. I actually have a pretty good life as it is. My family has been very supportive, and because of the whole court thing, my son's father had to have life insurance with him as a beneficiary. I said, would it be nice for my kid to get a big sum of money? Yes. Do I want him to have the surname of a man who didn't want him, see him, or love him? No. I've been talking to my family about it, and a few of them think I'm being an asshole for giving up this kind of money for my son. It is generational wealth, and I'm making the decision based on emotion. I think they are assholes for thinking money is the only thing that matters. I think I will tell my son's grandparents that they can talk to him about it when he is 16. He will be old enough to understand the implications, but young enough not to be tied professionally to his last name. So, is OP the a-hole for doing this proposition?
Wow.
I have some thoughts. I want to know what all of you think, so put your answers below. But John, what are your thoughts? This is a good one. This
is a
juicy.
really like hairline splitter because basically you're two sides. On one, it's like, hey, look, I'm not going to sell out in a way and change my baby's name and maybe identity and kind of like there's a principle thing going on there. But then on the other side, it's like
probably millions of dollars.
You could change your child's life forever, change your lineage's life. So now your child's kids are taken care of. You are good to go. All over just not changing a name on a piece of paper.
I think it's a little bit of an asshole move not to change it because that's crazy money that would, like you said, change generations.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But
we want to know what you think.
That's right.
Put your answers in the area below, and we'll get into this next episode.
Fuck my uncle and his kids. I'm taking the $400,000 inheritance. Am I the a-hole?
That's what I'm talking about. Fuck your way to the top.
What a deal. I, 26 female, am my mom's 54 female's child and only daughter to my dad, who she met after breaking up with my uncle, Bob. Oh, geez. 53
This is so
male.
much in here.
So much. Who had cheated on her with my now Aunt Jane, 51 female, and was pressured into marriage by their parents, finding out that Jane was pregnant with my now cousin Amelia, 32 female.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure about all the details, but from what I've gathered, Bob started sleeping with Jane because she was willing while my mom waited until marriage. My grandparents were very religious and traditional. So my mom was devastated and cut Bob and Amelia out of her life life for years and years and went low contact with my grandparents after they retired, pushing for reconciliation after Amelia was born.
Wow.
Eventually, my mom met my dad and got engaged, and I guess by that point, she was truly over Bob because she invited him, Jane, Amelia, and their son, Bob Jr.
No, you're joking.
They're all the names are in quotes,
Okay.
but 28 male, to the wedding. Jane was bummed out that she couldn't be a bridesmaid or that my mom made my god sister her flower girl instead of Amelia, and there was an argument. Before the wedding, there was a sit down between my parents, Bob, Jane, and my maternal grandparents where my mom said that she was willing to have some type of relationship with all of them, only under the condition that they all agreed to never speak about the past again.
Oh, so mom's just trying to brush it all under the rug.
From that day on, me and my cousins all grew up together and never knew the truth, and I thought we were all one big happy family. So I was surprised when my mom wasn't as sympathetic as I thought she would be when it turned out that Bob had been cheating on my aunt multiple times with different women. Bro, Bob cannot keep it in his pants.
Bob has got some riz.
They later divorced after Bob had gotten one of his flings pregnant.
Bob never misses.
Bob moved away and barely saw my cousins, but he always sent me cards, presents, and messages. I also didn't find out until later that he actually paid for my college in secret, so I didn't have any debt, while Amelia and Bob Jr. only got partial help from him.
Wait, what?
Recently, my Uncle Bob passed away and his lawyer requested that I attend the will reading. And I went to it, more so though to support my cousins. I was floored when I realized I got almost everything.
What?
That's when the secret came out and it was revealed that Bob never got over my mom, was still in love with her, and always thought of me as the daughter that should have been his.
Whoa.
It took me getting a DNA test to prove that I actually was my true father's daughter to convince everyone that my mom never slept with Bob.
Wait, so Bob gave everything to like not his kid. Did he think it was his kid? No, because he didn't sleep with her.
Yeah, Bob knows that he never slept with her, and she got the DNA test that proves that her father isn't Bob. But he just literally, you know what this is? This is a Snape Harry Potter situation.
This is so a Snape Harry Potter. Yo,
This is a Snape Harry
that
Potter
is
situation.
Perfect analogy.
And during that time, my cousins and Bob's other children said some really nasty things to me. After some time and everyone cooling off, I looked at the total value of my shares.
Okay.
Around $400,000 after fees. And I agreed to just give 50% of it to my cousins. They weren't happy and felt that as Bob's legal children, they should get everything. Wouldn't hear about accepting any less, and they called me a greedy witch with a B. Am I the a-hole?
Bro, I'm going to give you nothing if you keep acting up. You keep mouthing up. You're getting zilch, nada, zero.
There is more.
There's
There is
more?
an edit.
Say what you will about Bob, but Bob is doing what Bob wants.
Edit. Just to be clear, neither my mom, dad, or I knew that Bob was the one who gave me the money for college because when I was applying for stuff, Bob sent me a link to an organization that a friend of his knew that gave me the money for the school.
Wait, so Bob set up a secret organization to give the
Completely
money?
in secret. He didn't tell
Bob.
anybody.
Bob, you're crazy.
This dude is wild. The place seemed legit and asked me to show my college acceptance letter along with a 300 to 500 word personal statement and a copy of my transcripts, and that I'd find out in about 2 weeks if I got it. After he got the stuff I sent, Bob Googled the average of the school that I was going to and mailed me a check for that amount. The check was sent to a P.O. box that I had, and that's how Bob would send me the money every single year.
Wow.
Edit number 2. Also, Bob did leave his children something. Amelia got 20 grand. Bob Jr. got 10 grand plus a car. Bob's other daughter got ownership of his small beach house. She's the only one who lives in the same state as the beach house.
Bob, you crazy bastard. Bob.
This was a amazing fan submitted show.
Yeah, great.
Story. Wow. My God. Keep them coming, guys.
Keep
that was
'em
crazy.
coming, just like Bob did. There you go.
Wow.
Dude, Bob, like, in a weird way, kind of respect a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything else Bob did dastardly, but like there's like a handsome elegance to Bob.
Is Bob the a-hole?
He's an a-hole. He's a massive asshole.
Yeah.
But just because he's a massive asshole doesn't mean that he hasn't done some good.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
He's done some good.
He
He's
has
still
done
a massive
some,
asshole, but he's done some
things.
good.
Yeah. I think I agree
Who's
with
the
that.
most chaotic person you know?
Yes.
Bob is like, he reeks of chaos.
Pure anarchy.
I want to know your like chaotic uncle stories, chaotic friend stories, chaotic family stories. Let us know. Put your answers below. But damn, Bob is crazy.
He is.
Fucking asshole, but
God damn it, Bob is Bob.
He's charming.
Bob is gonna Bob.
Bob is gonna Bob.
And with that,
we're gonna Bob out.
see you in the next one.
Riley's giving me the weirdest face, dude. Anytime I compliment Bob, he's like, "Don't do it. Shut the fuck up, Sam."
I laughed at my husband when he got food poisoning. I warned him and he refused to listen. My boyfriend, who we'll call Jake, and I met at our workplace. We hit it off and started dating soon after. He was 26 and I was 23 at the time. We had been dating for months and he had taken me on some nice dates. Some dates were expensive, but some were cheap. And by the way, this comes from user Nightchild25 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I am not the type of woman who insists on a man taking out a loan to take me out. I've gone to high-end 4- and 5-star restaurants, McDonald's, and even gone to barbecues and eaten home-cooked meals. It's the company for me, not the location. Jake asked me out, not telling me where we were going, just telling me to dress casually. Everything was fine until he pulled into the parking lot of a dilapidated building. The place looked like the roof was caving in and it should have been condemned. I couldn't believe Jake was taking me to such an unsafe looking place. Just to let you know I'm not exaggerating, the place actually was condemned a week after our date. Okay, so OP is a reliable narrator.
Yeah.
This place just looked nasty. Jake was excited because it was a 99-cent twin movie theater and it was a historical landmark. I'm sure the disgust probably showed on my face because he started getting snippy, asking if I thought I was too good for this place. I have no idea where that attitude was coming from. I had never said a word about any of the places he took me. This place just looked unsafe. I told him it wasn't a matter of being too good for the place, but being afraid the roof was going to collapse on us.
You know,
Yeah.
it's got character.
Oh, so you don't like a little bit of grime, huh? Everything's got to be spotless for you, huh?
Gotta be pristine.
A little danger never hurt anybody.
There's a little stink to it.
Yeah. Put some stank
Get
on
used
it.
to the stank.
I told him I really appreciated him wanting to take me out, but I just felt we would be unsafe, and I told him that I'd rather go to a safer theater. I said I didn't mind paying for us to go to the new movie theater in the local mall. He refused and said I had insulted him. I apologized and begrudgingly agreed to go inside. He caused a scene at the box office. The movie was rated R, and Jake has a baby face. The lady at the box office asked for his ID, and Jake was just being a jerk, shouting and refusing to get out his ID.
Dude.
What a lame dude. As someone who is chronically ID'd for thinking that he's a little baby boy, just smile and laugh.
Yeah, do it.
It's a fun time.
It's
We
great.
both worked in retail. He knew this lady was only doing her job. I was already in a mood from our argument, and he wasn't helping things. Jake was not going to show his ID. Idiot. So I dug it out of his pocket and gave it to the lady, which started a brand new argument.
Brian
Yeah.
spanking new.
Is the argument that he's a little dumb baby? Because that would be my argument.
Yeah.
I wish I had just stayed home. After a period of back and forth, we took our tickets and entered the movie theater. The first thing I noticed was the smacking noise that accompanied my shoes sticking on the nasty floor. Ugh. They got lizard floors in this place because your feet stick to it and go.
Oh my God.
Oh, don't do that.
I told Jake, hey, the floor's disgusting. And I wasn't trying to insult him, but please, could we just go somewhere else?
Until we get asbestos poisoning, we are staying in this
I
establishment.
don't want to leave until the black mold fully penetrates my lungs membrane.
Do you know how much I spent here? How much I spent on these tickets?
99 cents.
Like $2.
Jake told me that he bought the tickets and we were staying.
I called it.
No.
Yeah.
He bought the 99-cent tickets. We're not going anywhere. You know how many McNuggets I could have got for that? So he said I should just shut up and let him buy us popcorn and a soft drink to split. So he's trying to provide, guys.
This guy, you know what? This guy's a role model. I'm taking notes.
You wouldn't understand a Sigma like me.
Yeah, everybody take notes on how to be a real man from this idiot. When it comes to splitting the food, that's a hard no. Even if I didn't mind sharing, which I don't, There was no way I wanted food from a place with a floor that nasty. My stomach churned at the thought. Jake made another scene shouting at me about how rude I was being, even after I pointed out that the popcorn machine was so dirty that you couldn't actually see the popcorn through the nasty, greasy, yellow sludge on the glass. I've used theater popcorn machines, and it takes a lot of neglect for them to end up looking like that.
Oh, come on, son.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy, dude.
I've used theater popcorn machines, and it takes a lot of neglect for that amount of nastiness. I told Jake I wasn't eating or drinking anything that wasn't prepackaged and factory sealed, and that neither should he. My parents owned a restaurant. I knew health violations when I saw them, and you probably think you know where this is going, but I promise you, you don't. It's so much worse. Jake grumpily ordered a popcorn and a fountain drink while I bought my own bottled drink and box of Junior Mints. Jake had refused to pay for my items since I felt I was too good for the popcorn. Whatever. When we got into the theater, my jaw dropped. It was a mess with a caved-in ceiling, ruined seats, and an awful smell of mildew.
I told you, stay for the smell. This is part of the experience, babe.
Wow. The smell
This is my date night, and we're gonna do what I want.
Guys, we're like 10 for 10 on these predictions, by the way.
I told you, there's gonna be a stank.
It took us way too long to find the two seats together that weren't in the floor or had exposed springs or seat stuffing. Yo, this place is just dilapidated.
This place is like not real.
This is a building that closed down, and a group of vagrants have started their own side hustle where they like have a projector set up and they just use the screens.
A group of New York City rats were like, this is our home.
Yeah, yeah. They were next to a wall that was an inch deep with dust, suckers, and gum. I swallowed down my complaints and forced a smile. I was just trying to make the best of things. But now Jake was huffy and not talking, which is probably good because if he was talking, he'd just be breathing in all of the asbestos, dust, and black mold and mildew that would be killing him.
Save him.
It was a hot August in Alabama, and the theater's air conditioning went out, making the smell all that much worse. I'm leaving at that point. I'm sorry. I leave. I'm gone. If the AC's done and it's gross and the seats are broken, I'm out. I am out. I spent the majority of the time with a perfumed tissue under my nose. Before our movie could begin, an usher came in to announce they had not sold enough tickets to show the movie. What is this place? This is not a real movie theater. They said we could either get a refund or go next door and watch a horror movie about snakes. I thought that was my salvation, but no, Jake insisted on going to see the other movie. What is up with Jake's infatuation with this terrible place? We had to search for seats all over again, and this time both of our seats were ripped. The movie started and Jake steadily ate his popcorn. A few minutes later, the film broke. We waited in the heat for it to be repaired, and he finished his popcorn. A few minutes later, the film began rolling again, and a woman started screaming, "Oh my God, there's a fried rat in my popcorn!"
Oh my God, the New York City rats were real.
So one of the employees got fried in the popcorn. Oh, God. You leave at this point. Popcorn you just inhaled? You got to get that out of your body now, dude.
Honestly, that's a him problem.
Yeah,
Like,
which is, it's a him problem. He's the one who chowed down, dude. So the fried rat popcorn lady is flinging popcorn everywhere. And by the way, we don't want you flinging anywhere except right here every weekday when we go live on YouTube at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile and you're in.
That's right.
Now, I assume Jake, they say this is in Alabama, so I assume Jake may be an Alabama boy. There's one thing I know about people from the South is that they have a stick-to-itiveness that cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
And I think that Jake is a shining example of that. We said, nope, my plan was to see this movie. I bought the tickets, and we're going to see a freaking movie here.
Yep.
Because that's just what I wanted to do. You know, that can be a really positive personality trait in certain contexts, not in the context of going to the dilapidated black mold movie theater with the caved-in ceiling and dust so thick that you could like build a structure out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget the fried rat.
Dude.
Oh, and I didn't even talk about the fried rat.
Who fried a rat?
Let's see where it goes.
Let's see.
I think he's going to get violently ill to the point of maybe hospitalization. So this is right after the rat popcorn incident. Jake turned a sickly shade of green and made a break for the bathroom.
Dude.
Yo,
Wow.
y'all are on fire today.
Yeah, it's-
y'all are on fire today.
Let's see. That's just what you do when you realize you've been eating fried rat popcorn.
Yep.
I watched most of the movie before he returned. When Jake finally made it back, he was shaking pale and still had a green tinge around his mouth. I tried to ask if he was all right, but he cut me off. Not one word. Not one.
Dude.
Jake bellowed at my concern. I don't know where it went because I just started laughing and laughing. I couldn't stop. I think I probably should have kept my mouth shut. Am I the a-hole? Look.
Talk to me. I'm
No,
looking.
you're not the a-hole. If anything, you tried harder than most people would try to have Jake see the light of, hey, the floor makes noise when we walk on it.
Yeah.
The popcorn machine, you can't even see what's in it. Maybe if they cleaned it, they would have noticed there was a rat in the popcorn machine.
Yeah.
My disabled sister refuses responsibilities. It's tearing the family apart.
Tearing the family apart.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa! My older half-sister, dad's side, 22, soon to be 23, came to live with us in December. She claims to have severe depression and anxiety that she refuses to seek therapy for. She does not work, does not clean after herself. She only leaves her room on the weekends to go out and party or go to concerts. And during the week, she's in her room all day, only coming out in the evening to scream/swear at me and my mom and start stupid arguments/tension between everyone. By the way, this comes from user Incredible Mountain 7, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, she was prescribed Zoloft by a psychiatrist last month and only gave it a week to work. I caught her dumping the pills in the toilet, and she told me to keep my mouth shut. When my mom questioned her on the empty pill bottles, she told her to F off and mind her own business. She stopped going to therapy last month because she thinks it's a waste of time. My dad deep cleaned her room last weekend because it was so bad. The smell of rancid cat litter was wafting downstairs, and it looked like a war zone. My dad said there was moldy cups, rotting food, stinky/dirty clothes everywhere, cat crap, and puke all over the carpet. The litter box looked like it was never scooped. She sat on her phone and cried to him about how horrible her life is and how mean my mom is while he cleaned her room. It took my dad a few hours to clean the room. She always cries to my dad about how mean my mom is, and anytime my mom calls her out on her behavior, she's very manipulative and uses guilt trips on my dad a lot, especially whenever my mom points out my sister's behavior to him, or whenever he tries to point out she's in the wrong. Then comes the waterworks, guilt trip and anger from my sister. You don't care about me because if you did, and you wonder why I never leave my room, and you wonder why I give you attitude all the time. My mom thinks it's ridiculous that she can't clean her room, can't take care of her cat, can't work, can't drive, can't really do anything because her anxiety and depression is so bad. But she can go out clubbing with friends every weekend. She can make hate accounts about me and my mother online. She can make up rumors about celebrities online to the point cease and desist letters are being mailed to the house.
How? That's kind of impressive, though.
Called a hobby.
That's
OP.
kind of impressive because how do you get that much traction? Like, because if I posted,
She's putting so much time and effort on online celebrity rumors
yeah,
rather
that's
than
kind
cleaning
of
up her
impressive.
own cat litter.
But I'm thinking like if I posted on, like I have a fair amount of followers, but if I posted on my story or something and was like, Taylor Swift did this, I don't think people would just believe me.
I think she's just I don't
How
know.
is she doing that, man?
No. She has jury duty selection tomorrow that she already missed once and refuses to get her car running so she can't drive there because of how bad her driving anxiety is, and she doesn't know how to use Google Maps. Girl. She wants my dad to take her. It is an hour away, or pay for an Uber. An Uber is very expensive, $60 each way, and she has no money to pay for it. She knows how to drive, she just doesn't want to, and tries to get out of it any way she can, as usual. My parents offered to drive her up to where the courthouse was yesterday, so she knows where it is, but she flat out refused to get in the car and started screaming at my dad that she doesn't care about her and accused him of wanting her to get into a car accident tomorrow. Today, my dad prepaid for an Uber so she can get there and is going to pick her up on his way home from work tomorrow. He is sick of arguing with her about it and doesn't want her to get arrested for not going. Her car is sitting by the driveway and is completely unusable. He refuses to call AAA and have them come out because she doesn't want to deal with it. I've noticed she always loves to start drama and loves to blame everybody else for all of her issues. She told my mom the excuse for going clubbing was the therapist recommended that and it would be good for her to get out of the house, and she's forcing her to do it. And my mom was like, so you can force yourself to do that but not do anything else? You are full of crap. My parents argue about her every day. My mom thinks it's all an act and she just doesn't want to grow up. Where my dad really thinks she's struggling mentally and feels bad for her. When she lived with her mother, she was calling him almost every day, crying about how mentally abusive her mother was and begging him to let her move in with us. My mom was reluctant to have her move in because she knows how she is. My parents argued for a while about letting her move in until they both agreed on ground rules for her staying here. But that went out the window after she moved in. My dad always feels bad for her for some reason, always caters to her, and takes her side with almost everything. And by the way, you can cater to us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast app, and search OK Storytime. And we have a great amount of stories there. 48 days, actually. In fact, so go to that. But we have a little bit left in the story. But Sophia,
Oof.
do we think dad is enabling her?
Oh, man.
How do we go
Man.
about this? Because
This is tricky because I think that probably the answer is somewhere in between the mom and the dad's understanding of it. I think it probably is a little bit. I mean, we know that she's diagnosed with depression.
yes, and anxiety, severe anxiety.
Yeah.
But
So I think it probably is some of that.
I don't
like
know.
there is, but also it might be that she is using that to get away with a little bit more.
probably, I think it's like a little bit of both.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a little bit of both, and I think that
But-
you can't really force her to do anything, but maybe it's just holding her a little bit more accountable.
She also bullies me every day. She's mean to my face. She mocks me, makes fun of me, takes pictures of me and bullies me online with them. She had made hate accounts spreading malicious lies about me online and trashed my name on Twitter and Instagram. She deleted the accounts and denied ever doing it whenever I bring it up to my dad. And she tried to blame it on me. She takes pictures of my mom behind her back and does the same thing. We didn't do anything to her. She has always hated us for some reason. You have some comment?
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Comment number 1. Time to record every interaction with your sister, especially where she says anything about your dad. He needs to hear exactly what she thinks about you, your mother, and him, then she will probably say it around you. If she puts it out on social media, screenshot it and show it to him. Also, make sure he gives her no money to go out partying. If none of that works, sit him down and explain that when he passes away, you will end up on the street because neither of you or your mother will put up with any of her crap. So he might as well make her get the crap together now before he passes away, or she'll end up on the street. OP doesn't reply. I did screenshot and show my dad the hate accounts. He asked her about them and she denied it and accused me of trying to start crap. And when I went to pull up the accounts, gone. I asked my dad why I would make a hate account against myself. That makes no sense. Like I said, makes 0 sense. He kept saying it's probably one of my friends from school and that I need to tell my friends to stop doing that. I said it's not my friends. Friends wouldn't do that. It's my sister. He told me she is 22 years old and has no reason to be doing that. He said we all sound like 14-year-olds and sounds like a bunch of immature, mean girls, and it needs to stop. He doesn't believe me that it's her behind it, even though cease and desist orders came to the house earlier this month for her spreading defamation rumors around celebrities.
Still wild to me.
This girl is just toxic. I feel
Okay,
like.
but like how? Sorry, how? I'm just really hung up on this. How many lies are spread about celebrities? You know, just every day. But she gets cease and desist letters. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, we have another reply. I think your mom and you need to just leave. Go stay with some family for a while or something. If your dad constantly is taking her side, your mom needs to really get him to see that if he wants to pick sides, then that means that he can deal with it all by himself. None of you deserve to be putting up with this crap. Since he wants that, let him. OP replies. I just went downstairs and asked my mom about leaving, and she got mad at me and told me it's not that easy to just pack up and leave. We have nowhere to go, and she has her job she has to worry about. I said, what about a hotel or a relative's house? And showed her some of the replies, and she started yelling at me for discussing family issues online. She told me to delete this post, that I'm just a kid and need to stay out of this. I told her it's affecting me though. She bullies me every day. All I hear is arguing every day. The hate accounts that she makes people at school know about me, and she's a huge problem and has serious mental issues. My mom yelled at me that she's well aware my sister needs help, but she has enough on her plate to deal with. She said if it bothers me that much, then I should just stay in my room and put headphones on when my sister is downstairs. And then she told me she's not having this conversation with me anymore and walked away.
This is really frustrating because I forgot that OP's 14.
Yeah.
OP's like in middle school.
OP's getting bullied. Yeah, the fact that OP's so much more mature than
Than her 23-year-old sister. Yeah, it's frustrating that it seems like the dad is just letting all of this kind of happen, and the mom's aware that this is all happening and is upset about it, but is also doesn't seem to know what to do and is now taking it out on OP not standing up for OP, because it went from just like depression and not being able to clean the room to like actively bullying people.
Yeah.
And you can't just say like, oh, I have depression, so that's why I'm bullying people.
I have severe anxiety, so I can't go,
I have severe anxiety, so I have to bully my little sister.
I can't go to jury duty. What are they going to do? Arrest me?
And also, I mean, if she took a little bit of initiative, you can get out of jury duty for like medical things.
Yeah,
Or
but
postpone
she's
it.
not. I don't think initiative's in her vocabulary,
Alas.
unfortunately.
But that is the end of that story.
I came out with my fiance to my parents, and now they want to send me to conversion camp. Just a smelly, smelly move on the part of your parents. Ugh. And before we continue on here, there is a trigger warning. These parents in this story are homophobic, and if that dynamic between a parent and a child is not something you can hear right now, go ahead and skip this story and head to another one. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting anything to do with my family? I, female 19, just came out to my family about being the G in LGBTQ. And I'm sorry, people, I really want to be able to say that right now, but we're having some monetization issues with these words, which is not up to us. So for starters, I was adopted into a pretty religious household. My biological mom couldn't take care of me and had to give me up. A year after she did, my family adopted me. By the way, this comes from user StrikingWall8733. And if you want to submit your own stories, go over to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my childhood was okay, but my parents were and still are very religious. My family is very well known in the community since my dad is a pastor for the church. My friend and now fiance, female 20, we met during church and instantly hit it off. We did everything together, and I could tell that I started having feelings for her in 9th grade. I knew she liked me back because she told me a couple weeks beforehand. High school was okay. I was in a couple of sports, but I mostly liked soccer. Most of my friends came to all my practices and games, and I liked that I could tell she actually cared. So during the summer before 11th grade, my friend invited me to go with her family to Hawaii, and of course my parents were okay with it, so I was very excited for the whole week leading up to the trip. Me and my friend went clothes shopping and basically spent that whole week doing that. Well, 2 days before we had to leave, we were at the mall again, and I was trying on swimsuits or trying to find one that fit me. I was and still am very athletic, but also skinny. So my then friend came into the changing room to help me tie the top, and she basically gave me a little smooch, and that started the whole us being together thing. Fast forward to now. Me and my fiance have been together for about 2 years, and her parents know and are very supportive. So I figured it was time that I told my parents. I'm not living at home because I'm going to college, so I texted my mom and asked if it was okay if my dad, her, and me, and Hannah, my fiance, could go out to dinner, and my mom agreed, since her and my dad haven't seen me since I left for my freshman year of college a couple months ago. Oh, and by the way, my parents are paying for my college. I hope they don't hold that over OP's head.
Oops.
So the day comes around and me and Hannah go to the restaurant and meet my parents. Of course, my parents are happy to see me and Hannah, so we sit down and eat, and everything was going smoothly until dessert. My mom asked me why I wanted to do this dinner with them so abruptly. I looked at her and basically said that I needed to tell them something, and of course, my mom went straight to, "You're pregnant." I told her, "No, I'm not, actually."
Funny story about that.
Crazy story, though. You're not actually going to believe it.
Ooh.
She looked relieved and said, "Okay, what is it then?" I looked at her and said, "I'm not straight, and I've known since high school." The look on my parents' face was like they got hit by a freight train. I looked down because I didn't want to look them in the eyes. My mom, after a few minutes, started making a scene, crying and yelling at me, saying that I'm a disgrace and everything else under the book, and that she raised my siblings and I better. I was crying at this point, which is understandable, OP. and my dad was quiet. I looked over at Hannah and she showed my parents the ring and they both turned red in the face, which honestly, gotta love that.
Yo.
These people deserve to be made uncomfortable and you don't need them.
Yeah.
If your parents can't accept you for who you are, you don't have to accept them either. You are free to be your own person and live your own life so long as you're not hurting anybody.
That's right.
My mom just stormed out and my dad followed her and I was just sitting there stunned and crying. Luckily, Hannah was there. So fast forward to about last Saturday, I didn't speak or hear from my parents since Wednesday, and out of the blue, my mom texted me saying, "Elizabeth, we raised you better than this, and we want to send you to a conversion camp, and we're going to pay for it." I just stared at that text for a couple of hours before responding and basically yelled at my mom and cussed at her, told her that I'm not going to change for them and that if they can't accept me for who I am, they are no longer my parents.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Come on.
If they go through, if this is how they feel, then I will never speak to them again. And I blocked her number. It's been a week now, and I'm wondering if I overstepped by saying that. Am I the a-hole, or did I respond the right way? I will give an update at some point, but I just can't get the feeling out of my head that I overreacted. Also, do I talk to my dad? Because he's not blocked, but he hasn't said anything to me, or hasn't messaged me, or called me. And there is an update. John.
Wow. Yes.
What kind of behavior would we classify the parents as right now?
I mean, we gotta be sent through some orc clouds. We gotta get some ethereal spaghetti in there. It's gotta be eaten by James Gandolfini.
His pigs.
Did I say his pigs?
Almost.
I said James Gandolfini right
Yeah,
though.
James Gandolfini.
That's a win for me.
The spirit of him resides within the jail inside the black hole that turns you into spaghetti.
I see.
Yeah. And we are going to see right now. Oh, we got the update. My dad texted me and basically said that they are no longer going to be paying for anything for me.
And there it is.
He said that they called the university and told them they were no longer paying my tuition. And then he said they're no longer paying my car bill or my cell phone and are taking me off their insurance. I kind of expected this to happen, but what he said afterwards hurt me so much I'm crying and I just want to hide away from the world. He said they only adopted me to give me a better life outside my home country where I was born. He said that they supported me when they didn't need to and that he expects to be paid back all the money he spent on me.
I'm going to go in a time machine and tell you to never talk to your dad and run.
If I'm the wife and I hear him say that, I'm like, hey, so I'm leaving you, I guess? Like, what?
Well, I mean, his
but
crazy
also,
wife's probably like, yeah,
right, exactly. His wife's probably right behind him, like, yeah, you tell it. You tell it like it is, husband.
Dude.
Ugh.
Just honestly, like, I truly wish there was a law that's like, that would, these parents need some jail time. They need to be scared straight.
I think you should go to jail if you adopt somebody and then literally are just like, yeah, I mean, I just did it because I wanted to feel good about myself, I guess.
Yeah.
And now that you don't live the way I want you to, you owe me your upbringing? You have to pay me back for that?
Sending an invoice?
Dude,
Come
you're
on.
trash. You're never coming back from that.
Yes.
So if I don't pay him, he's going to get me to the place where I belong. What does that mean?
Oh.
Is that an ambiguous threat?
I think it is.
This hurts so much, knowing that I was never loved and that they only adopted me for the money. I don't even know what to do. I blocked him and didn't say anything. What should I do? I feel like my whole life is effed up now. And we have a second update. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
Let's do it.
I really don't know how to update you guys with everything that has happened already. It's taken me by surprise, and I'm not going to lie. I had a feeling this was gonna happen. So I showed my uncle the text messages from my dad, his brother, and he's livid and basically wants nothing to do with my father and mom. Also, he said that I can stay with him if I wanted to, and I took him up on that offer. Cool uncle.
Yes.
Yes.
Go cool uncle.
I also told my brothers and sent them screenshots of the messages, and they aren't happy with our parents either. I posted the message on the church's Google website and also our town city hall's Facebook page.
Yo.
And sent it to the group chat with the rest of my family. Yes.
Honestly, they need to learn a lesson. I'm here for
It's time for some public shaming.
it. Let's go.
My fiance and I talked briefly about everything, and she said that I need to have time alone to think about everything. And well, me and my insecurities were right. About 7 hours later, she sent me a handful of messages, and I have screenshots of those, but I'll give you guys a rundown. Me, why are you talking to my parents? You know, because of what they said, and you're still talking to them. Her, because I want them to be a part of our life. Elizabeth, maybe you don't want that, but I do. So why can't you accept that? Me, are you effing kidding me? No, I don't want to accept that because of what they said. But obviously you don't care about how I feel and what's best for us. You only think about what's best for you. Her, are you serious? I do care about us, Lizzie. I basically said that the wedding is about you and you went with it. I was there for you when your grandparents passed away and when you found out that your bio mom passed away. You don't get that I've dropped everything for you in order to keep you happy. I want your parents in my life because I respect and like them. Me, ... Her, really, ... Where are you so we can talk about this? This is all, by the way, wild that this is her fiance.
Yeah, I'm totally lost.
This is, why is the fiance on the parents' side right now?
How could you ever side with them? I don't, like, however.
I don't know.
Like, they hate you.
Exactly. Like, they would want you, they want to send you to conversion camp.
And she's like, I like and respect them.
They're essentially trying to hate crime you.
Yes.
Like, this is crazy. Me, I'm driving and I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't think it's best that we talk about it in person because obviously you want them in your life more than you want me in your life. And it feels like you don't want me to be your wife. So have fun with your new parents because I'm done. Her. Elizabeth, please don't say that. I do want you as my wife and I want you to be happy, but at the same time, they are like parents to me. I just can't cut them out of my life. Baby, I'm sorry that you feel this way. I really am. You make me happy, and without you, I'm nothing. You make my day better just by walking in the room. Your smile is contagious. Me, just stop. You're just saying that to make me forgive you, and I honestly can't. I thought maybe that you would have taken my side and supported me in my decision, but instead, you went behind my back to talk to my a-hole parents that never effing loved me and adopted me for just the money and just to say, oh, look at our wonderful daughter. No, I'm done. I really am. Also, another note here.
Yes.
OP's fiance, who she's conversing with right now, has parents that supported her. So her being like, they're my parents too. It's like, but you already have your actual parents who actually support you.
Yeah, it's just such a wild thing for the fiance. Again, it's like they hate you. Like they want to send you to the conversion camp.
Nonsense.
It makes no sense.
So she says, Lizzie, please don't say that you're done. We can make this work. You don't need to have anything to do with them, but I want them as a part of my life, which that doesn't make any sense because if she's in your life, then they're going to be in OP's life in some way. And I also want you to be a part of it as well. Remember a couple weeks ago when we were at that one restaurant and we were talking about buying a house and adopting children or finding a donor and having biological kids? I want that still. I want that life with you. Me, you think that's going to fix the fact you're talking to my parents who, one, don't want anything to do with me anymore, and two, I thought maybe you would have taken into consideration how I felt and talked to me beforehand, but let me guess, you also said that they're still invited to our wedding. Her, well, yeah, I thought they would be.
Dude.
And they probably said that out of anger, and they're probably hurting Lizzie. You need to talk to them. And why wouldn't they be invited to the wedding? They are your parents.
Dude, what's the girlfriend's name again?
Hannah.
Dude,
Hannah, giving Hannah's a bad name.
Dude, you are making Hannah's run for the hills right now.
Wow.
Because they're going to need to be in hiding with what a bad reputation you are putting upon them right now.
Truly.
Wow.
Me, they aren't invited to the wedding, if that's even still happening. She responds with a gif of a shocked face. Me, what? You obviously care more about them than me. I honestly didn't want to do this, but it's either me or them. So pick, because I'm letting you know right now, if you pick them, we're done. I'll go to a pawn shop and sell the engagement ring. Her, you're not serious, right? Me, I am very serious. Pick me or my parents. Her, babe, you're just going to throw away 2 years over a stupid fight you had with your parents? I want all of you in my life, but I see that can't happen. And I want you to be happy. I really do. But I can't pick either of you. I don't want to lose you, and I want your parents to be part of my life, Lizzie, so I'm sorry, but I can't pick. Are you crazy, Hannah? Do you realize that now that her parents know that You're her fiance and not her friend. They're going to treat you differently.
You know, what'd be a crazy plot twist is if she just like goes along with it, and then she's like, Hannah's like, "Oh, I'm straight now, and I'm with the parents, and you know, it's all good." And it's like,
just like she was low-key just trying to replace her as a straight daughter.
oh my god,
Wow. That's crazy.
oh,
That would be a crazy move. I say, seems like you want to throw away 2 years for beat parents. So about 4 hours has passed and she finally answered me, and this is where it gets bad. Oh, it wasn't even bad yet.
oh my god.
I guess it may be more like hurtful for me. Her, Lizzie, I don't want to lose you, but I have to pick your parents. I'm sorry, but they are important to me, and I just feel like this whole situation is dumb and that you overreacted. Your parents have a right to be mad, and they don't hate me. They said that they love me no matter what. So I'm sorry. Is it okay if I get the engagement ring back, since I'm pretty sure we are over? That was a lot of money, and it would be nice to be able to pawn it and have that money for an apartment. No, it's mine now. It's mine now. You picked my homophobic parents. It's mine now.
Oh my god.
I still have not responded. I also sent this to everyone, and I have the screenshots. This was our whole conversation. What do? I am really confused and hurt as to why my parents are okay with her, but not me. Any advice will help. I told my uncle you guys said he's awesome and amazing, and he said he appreciates it, but he's just looking out for his Lizzie Bear. FYI, I hate that nickname.
I'm sorry, but I love it. Lizzie Bear, dude. Give this man Uncle of the Universe Lifetime Space
Yes.
Continuum Award.
Truly uncle.
Give it to him.
The uncle.
He's
A
unking it up.
statue in his honor.
Yeah.
And there is an update here with some more messages. So, her, Elizabeth, why are you acting like this? This isn't you? I say, why do you care how I act and how I don't act? You made it very clear that you don't want me to be a part of your life, so I already canceled the wedding and also the venue. And since I was the one that paid for the honeymoon, I canceled your ticket and still have mine. You made your decision and you have to live with that choice. Her, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I want you back, okay? I effed up, but your parents are going to be in my life. Please, baby, I'm sorry. I'll do anything for you. Apparently not. Apparently, you won't even pick her over her bigoted parents who, for some reason, don't hate you, who is also not straight.
I think the parents are literally doing it as a means to like torture OP. They revel in their hatred.
You might be right. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Nobody's making any sense in this story except for OP. I've seen a couple people comment about me saying something about top surgery. I just want to clarify that me saying that has nothing to do with what's going on in my life choice. It doesn't matter what you guys think about that. It's insensitive that you bring it up for no reason. I had medical issues that I needed to get it done at the time, but I'm doing better, so please don't bring it up because it has nothing to do with what's currently going on. And by the way, I can tell you that currently you can find out what's going on with full episodes with stories like this. Except not. There are no stories like this. This
That's
story
true.
is one of a kind.
One of a kind.
You can listen to full episodes of this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on wherever you get podcasts from. Just search up OK Storytime and you will find literally 48 days. 48 entire days worth of podcasts to listen to.
That's playing 24/7, by the way. In case you didn't know.
24/7, no breaks. So we do have another update here. John, do you have
Yes.
anything to add? I think we're both at a loss here.
I mean, this is just a once in a lifetime what the F moment. I mean, honestly, let's look at the positives here. OP is getting rid of stinky, terrible, horrible, bigoted, homophobic parents.
True.
And crazy, insane, we do not know what's going on with you, ex-fiance girlfriend.
Double true.
So, hey, let's keep moving.
Update number 3. So I know it's been about 2 weeks since I last updated you guys from my previous update. A lot has happened. I had my uncle go over to my parents' house to grab some clothes of mine and my cat. And while he was over there, he went through my dad's phone and saw messages between my father and my ex, Hannah. They are basically having an affair.
On the list of things we never saw coming. Who found the phone? Mom?
No, I think it was Uncle.
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 Oh, poor sweet uncle.
Uncle.
Poor sweet babe.
Oh.
You did not deserve that.
Oh no, he's no longer the Funkle. He's a Funkle. The affair uncle. He found the affair.
Dude.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. Continuing on here, my mom was notified and she is going through the process of getting a divorce. I have officially moved in with my uncle and I'm continuing my classes for college. I have had some contact with my parents and ex that led me deciding to get a restraining order on all of them. Sorry, this update wasn't very drama filled. And that's
the end?
is the end of that story.
You are joking right now.
My ex-husband ruined my life, so I took everything from him in our divorce.
Girl, take it all.
I want to know how much you took. So sorry. This will be a long post, but there is some background information that I believe is relevant. This happened in 2020. For some background information, at the time, I was 26 female when I met my now ex-husband, at the time 31 male, via Facebook in January 2017. He messaged me this long paragraph about how he really wanted to meet me and we should go out, and I should give him a chance to see where it goes. Me being vulnerable and going through some heartbreaking life changes, agreed, and we started talking. By the way, this comes from you just particular 3184 on the ROK Storytime subreddit. So, long story short, we went on a couple dates, he stayed over one night, and then never left. Basically moved in with me. At the time, he had nothing. He was living in a small storage building behind his parents' home. So small, all that fit in it was a recliner that he slept in, a TV, and a mini fridge. He would be locked out of the house when they went to bed, so he had to use the bathroom outside in the woods after that. Jeez. What did she steal from him? He's got nothing.
This guy is at rock bottom, essentially.
Jeez. He had no car and no job at all. And his wife had left him a year prior. He was on workman's comp for a work-related injury and was in the middle of a lawsuit. Oh, okay. Things were going pretty good, and we got along pretty well and had a lot of fun together. In April of 2017, he got my family and his family together at my parents' house to have a dinner. Said it was so our families could meet to see how they could get along. Little did I know, it was so he could propose. Being on the spot, I said yes. And by the time we left, everyone had already picked a date for the wedding, August of 2017, and started planning it. Me feeling the pressure went along with it. The next 4 months were super stressful, planning the wedding and trying to figure out if this is what I wanted to do.
This is not the situation you want to be in.
Maybe she
if you're
should not
getting
have
married.
gotten married. I had always told him I wanted to date at least a year before even being proposed to. And I almost left him multiple times. But our families talked me into staying because every couple goes through this when planning a wedding. August comes and we are married. Everything was fine for a while, but we would have small disagreements that I now realize were huge. On our 1-year anniversary, I bought him a vehicle. Geez, marry me. I need one. It was a brand new 2018 $35,000 vehicle, even though I was in a beat up 2005 vehicle. We had moved into a new place. He said it was weird staying somewhere that my exes had been and convinced me we needed a fresh start in a home that was ours. And even managed to get him a job with a large retail company because a friend of mine was a manager there. I even had helped him set up to a manager's position there within a couple of months of being there. So basically, in the span of a year and a half, he went from nothing to having a wife, home, vehicle, and well-paying job because of me.
Wow. Yeah. Because of you. That's crazy. You've taken this guy who was borderline, like, just optically at his least worthwhile.
Not
like,
looking good.
Just, like, doesn't have a bathroom at night.
Yeah,
rock
that's
bottom
bad.
type stuff. And you have flipped his entire life. And I hope nothing bad happens because of it.
I'm once again wondering, what did she take from this man because she gave him everything?
He might just be really hot. A lot
Better
of times
be.
when we have stories like this and we're like, how does this make sense? We're like, oh, what if they're
he's
just
a
really
model.
hot?
That's
It could
true.
be.
That's true.
Might not be, though. Might be true love.
Now, the home we moved into, I knew the landlord since I was a kid, so he was happy to give me a special rate on the place. And my ex knew it was because the landlord knew me that we got this place. This is relevant later. In 2019, we got to a point we were fighting all the time, and I felt unappreciated. I was always told, I didn't do anything to you. You have no reason to feel that way. You need to stop being so emotional. Yikes. The straw that broke the camel's back came when I got home from work. I was working 10-hour days, 6 days a week one day, and he was passed out on the couch while my son, autistic, was in the kitchen and had gotten a hold of a knife and said he was trying to make us dinner. Jesus. I got my son and left to stay with my parents for a while. Over the next few months, we tried to work things out. We decided to start over, date a while to see how things went and go from there. I didn't want to be another statistic and was feeling pressured from parents to make it work out.
What is there to work out with this guy?
Yeah, they shouldn't have pressured him to propose.
Maybe they know about this, like whatever this settlement that he's trying to get, and they're
know.
like, he's gonna have millions.
Yeah, just wait till the lawsuit kicks in.
Just wait, babe.
Ultimately, in 2020, I decided I was done for good. Found my own place and cut contact for the most part. I'm 29 and he is 33 now. They're still so young. At this point, I just wanted to be done, and we agreed that I could take all my son's belongings and we would split the rest of my stuff. So he wasn't left with nothing. And he could keep the place we had. He got a house out of this?
You're literally just like,
come on now.
You're going to give him the house. You're going to give him the car. You're going to give him half of your own stuff. You're just like, give me my kid's stuff back.
Yeah,
You're
wow.
an angel. Maybe a little too much of one.
We also agreed he could keep the vehicle, but only so long as he would make the payments on it on time. And once he was able to finance himself, he would take my name off, or he could pay it off and I would sign it over to him.
No. That is a bad idea. I'll tell you one thing I know for a fact. That guy is not making all the payments on that vehicle, and he doesn't have to. Because it's not in his name.
That's bad. Bad. The vehicle was in my name, along with the lease to the home. Her credit score is about to...
Yeah, you're throwing your credit score into a volcano.
Yeah, yikes.
For this guy.
He made the first payment on time, but the second month when I contacted him about the payment, he said he didn't have it and needed to wait until he got paid at the end of the week. I was getting nervous because the payment was due within a week and a half. When I contacted him again and again, he said, I don't have it, and then hung up. It was Friday, payment was due the next Wednesday. That Sunday, a mutual friend and I was hanging out and let it slip that he was already engaged to another woman.
Whoa!
And said he was gonna keep the vehicle until they repo it so he could ruin my credit and screw me one last time.
Whoa! This guy is a demon. She gave you a house and a car, and you're like, yeah, let me screw her over. Who are you?
This is where he effed up. Of course, being the owner of the vehicle, on that Monday while he was at work, I had someone drop me off in the parking lot to pick up my vehicle. I got straight in, door wasn't locked, and drove it home. Who doesn't lock their car door?
If you have the key in the car and it's unlocked, you don't deserve to even have one in the first place.
This man is rude and dumb. His work was about an hour from where we lived. Once he got off work and realized he had no way home, he called and told me if I didn't bring him his vehicle back, that he would come to my house and get it. I told him to go ahead, and as soon as he drove it off my property, I would have him arrested and charged for grand theft auto. Get him. At which point, I told him he could return his key to the vehicle and collect his belongings out of it. During the heat of the fight, I said, I picked you up from nothing and gave you everything, and even made this as simple as I could so you were not left with nothing again. But keep on and I'll make sure to leave you where I found you.
Ooh. Oh, I'll leave you where I found you.
Drop them, sis.
At rock bottom, but underneath the rock at rock bottom.
Like
that's where you were.
Very bikini bottom.
And it's honestly
of the rocks.
where you should be.
Yeah.
Based on how you've been behaving in this story.
He tried to call my bluff, but ultimately gave me the key and took his belongings and left. I took the vehicle, cleaned it up, took it to a dealership and sold it before the payment was due and got it paid off and even an extra $6,000 for it over payoff value. He relentlessly harassed me from the time he left till I had enough on Thursday. I had over 1,000 texts and voicemails telling me I'm a petty beep and that I'm going to pay for leaving him without a vehicle.
Funny thing about that is she actually got paid for leaving you without a vehicle.
As she should.
Yeah.
And also, like, she left him better than he was before she picked him up.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
why is he complaining?
She tried to give you a house and a car, and you were like, I'm above you.
That's
what?
wild. So I made good on my threat. I called the landlord, explained what happened, and told him my name was to come off the lease. He happily took my name off. I called the internet, water, and power companies and told them I moved and needed the service that was in my name disconnected from the previous address. They happily disconnected the same day. Mans don't got water or power.
Not until you start paying for it now.
Here we go. I also called my friend, his manager, and told her about him leaving the cash safe keys unattended in the vehicle, unlocked in the parking lot while on the clock.
This
He's
guy
going
is
in.
just completely inept
Yeah.
at all things.
He's dumb. By the way, you can join us live on YouTube and Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, and we're probably live right now, so tap on our profile.
Give it a tap. So clearly the solution here is like, well, the solution's already been done.
I think justice is being served.
Yeah, she's serving justice.
Yeah.
Just a hot, steaming plate of justice.
Yeah, and I hope her wealth is multiplied.
Yeah, it's got to be because she's not taking care of this man baby
Yeah,
anymore.
That's true.
Who's just leeching all of her money from
Yeah.
her.
So
Yeah.
sad. People are weird. When he got home from work, he had no water, no power, and no internet. His credit was shot, so he couldn't get water or power in his name. So he eventually was evicted due to not being able to maintain the property in proper living conditions. On Friday, he was called into the office and let go due to negligence. I texted him Friday evening and told him that now he has seen a petty beep, and now I can officially say I left him where I found him, blocked him, and never looked back. Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That guy fully deserved that treatment.
Yeah. I will say the empath in me does feel for this guy a little bit, but also
No, stop it. Get out of here. No, you're empath. He literally got engaged to another woman
No, I
immediately.
know. That's true.
and
Where's the
texted her.
fiance?
He's like, I can't wait. I'm gonna screw her one more
That's
time
true.
by getting the car repoed and ruining her credit.
That's true.
You deserve every bad thing that ever happens to you, dude.
You're right. You don't deserve my empathy. Okay. Edit to add. The divorce was finalized in 2021. This is what we agreed to amongst ourselves when we were separated. By the time the divorce was finalized, we had lived separate lives for a year with no contact. And that is the end. My ex-husband said our kids don't recognize him as their father. I said that's his fault.
Yeah, maybe you should have been there for him a little bit more. That's just my guess.
I'm 33 and have 2 kids, 12 and 8. I divorced their dad when I discovered he was cheating on me with the mom from our younger son's school group. Despite that betrayal, I agreed to share custody because I wanted my kids to grow up with their father in their lives. By the way, this comes from you glittering male 117 on the ROK Storytime subreddit. However, since the divorce, he's only been around when he's picking them up for visits. He often goes out with his stepchildren, but rarely includes our kids, claiming those outings are spur of the moment and can't always include them. Eventually, I stopped pushing it, but I've always thought it was unfair that he keeps his distance from our children's lives. Recently, I decided to upgrade my older son's computer, and he asked if we could give his old one to his cousin, my brother's son. My brother has been a huge support for my kids. He's always available to take them to their school events when I can't, and often takes them out to the park or for trips when I'm busy. My ex, on the other hand, is rarely available for them. Anytime I ask him for help with an activity, he has an excuse. He's out of town or swamped with work. Ironically, though, whenever his stepkids need something, he's there.
Very suspicious.
Very interesting. See where his priorities lie. Once he even argued with the stepkid's father at a school event. insisting he had the right to be there. When my ex found out I gave the computer to my nephew, he got upset. He complained that if I had money to spare on a gift like that, I should have forgiven 2 months of child support he'd missed, since his finances were tight with a new baby. Skipping on child support? He added that if I could give away a computer, I should have gifted it to either his kids or his stepkids, who shared just one computer among the 3 of them. I told him my finances were none of his business and that I owed nothing to his stepchildren. Then his wife jumped into the conversation, accusing me of spoiling my son by giving him a new computer and of being petty for letting my son bring it to their house, claiming it was just to show off in front of his step-siblings. I told her she had no right to speak to me that way or question my decisions. I added that I allow my kids to see their father so they can grow up with him in their lives, not so she can interfere with how I parent. My ex was offended, but I told him this whole situation could have been avoided if his wife hadn't inserted herself where she doesn't belong.
Yeah, hello. This is my child and his cousin, my brother / his uncle. You're not involved here. Go and be involved with your own kids.
Yeah. Blended family. I feel like that's a tough situation, but that's not like the woman's fault. After that, things seemed to calm down until last week. I went to pick up the kids and my ex was visibly upset. He explained that he'd tried reading a bedtime story to our youngest. At home, he still likes to be read before bed, usually by me, his brother, or my brother, and when none of us are around, he listens to audiobooks. Apparently, my ex wanted to make an effort to connect, so he offered to read to him. But our son turned him down, saying he didn't need him for that because he could do it himself. My ex stayed to listen as he searched for a story for 8-year-olds without a dad on his tablet, and it hit him hard.
Yeah, I bet it. I hope it hit you hard. That should be a big wake-up call that you've been an absentee parent in your youngest son's life.
Also, that's like, it's so sad, but also like kind of funny that the son was like, story for 8-year-olds without a dad, like as his dad's like in the room.
He's just trying to feel what he feels.
Yeah,
he's like, this isn't really my
like,
dad. It's it's basically my stepdad. And he probably thinks of his cool uncle more of his
as
dad.
His father.
The cool uncle is always going to be.
Poor kid. The next day, my ex offered to take our older son to basketball practice, but he replied that he'd be going with his dad. He quickly corrected himself and said, "Uncle." That made my ex even angrier. And when I came to pick up the kids, he confronted me about it. I told him that if our kids feel like they don't have a father, he has only himself to blame. He tried to shift the blame onto me, saying I was the one pushing him away from his role. I told him it's up to him to show up for his kids, not something I can do for him. I reminded him that he was the one who broke our family, and he's chosen to be more involved with his stepkids than with his own children. I told him not to kid himself. The kids are growing up, and they're starting to see the reality of who he is as a father. If he keeps this up, he can't expect much from them in the future. Yeah, I feel like he kind of just did it to himself.
Hello, knock, knock. The consequences of your actions are here.
Yeah.
Your kids don't really like you.
Yeah.
You need to now step up.
After that exchange, his mom called me. While she's always been polite to me, I felt the need to say that I would have appreciated the same concern from her when she supported her son's affair, knowing her grandchildren were losing their father in the process. She hung up and we haven't spoken since. My brother advised me that I had every right to express how I feel, but he suggested that maybe the discussion shouldn't have happened in front of the kids. Later, my ex texted me saying that if I weren't so difficult, he'd spend more time with them. I told him his duty as a father doesn't depend on whether I'm easy or not, and he knows I've never prevented him from seeing the kids. The truth is, when he has to choose, he prefers outings with his stepkids over his own children. And that's something only he can change.
Time to take personal responsibility, man. This is 100% on you.
Update. These past days have been a bit unusual. First, I want to thank all of you. I didn't expect to receive so much advice, and I never thought this app would be so useful. It's not very popular in my country. Now, back to the topic. My ex sent me messages saying he wanted to resolve things, stop arguing, and talk to me. I agreed. He came to my house and we didn't beat around the bush. We went straight to the point. He asked me if I really thought he was a bad father. I replied that looking back now, I never would have chosen him to be the father of my children. He said it wasn't easy for him, and I answered that it wasn't easy for me either because I take on both his role and mine. He told me he couldn't leave his stepchildren without a father because he had already broken their family, and I replied that he had left his own children without a father. He started crying and told me it was my fault, saying that when the infidelity happened, I refused to forgive him or go to couples therapy.
I am so mad at this guy.
Jesus.
You have all the tools that you need to repair this problem in your life. They're right here. They're in your hands. They are your own two hands. You can fix this.
Like, it's her fault that you cheated?
How on earth are you going to say that it's your ex-wife's fault for not forgiving you for cheating on her? You are an absurd person.
I kept telling him things. I'll admit they weren't kind, but none of them were lies. He asked me if, given his current state, I didn't feel sorry for him, and I said no. He told me he didn't think I could be so cruel, and I replied that when I changed jobs, pulled my kids out of school 2 months before the end of the term, moved houses, and watched him disappoint our kids over and over again, any empathy I might have felt turned into apathy. Wow.
Mic dropped on that for sure. Yeah, and well-deserved. Mic drop. This guy's he just wants someone to baby him.
He left after that. His mother called me and said that she knew what I had told her son, that he hadn't stopped crying, and that she didn't understand how I could carry so much hatred to her son like that.
Why is the mom the mediator? This guy is why? You're a grown man. Why is your mom mediating your conversations with your ex?
Also, like, don't you care about your grandchildren? Like, don't you feel bad for the situation? Where is the remorse?
The apple must not fall far from the tree.
She said I should just get over it. I answered with all due respect what I said wasn't out of hatred, but out of truth. If your son is crying, it's because he's finally facing the consequences of his actions. Maybe instead of worrying about how he feels now, you should have taught him to take responsibility and treat people with respect.
Yes!
She said I didn't know what it was like to feel a mother's love and see a child suffer. And I replied that I did understand because I have 2 children who cry over a living father. 2 children who see their dad being a father to other kids when he doesn't have time to be their father. She said he was sorry, and I told her not to put words in his mouth and to stop calling me about anything related to her son. I hung up. I wanted to cry so badly, but I'm a danged mother and I don't have time for that. I want my kids to feel safe, loved, and strong enough to not need anyone, not even me, to be themselves. Last Thursday, I took my kids to their cousin's birthday party, hosted by my ex-sister-in-law. I still have a good relationship with her. She was the one who told me about the infidelity and that her mother was already encouraging it. My ex showed up alone and irritated. My kids kept their distance from him. They kissed his hand, but then ignored him completely. My ex-mother-in-law told the kids they should show more respect to their father. And my eldest replied that he doesn't show respect for me since he and his partner talk badly about me. Ooh. I scolded my son, not for what he said, but for how he addressed his grandmother. I told him it was wrong to eavesdrop on private conversations and repeat them. Then I asked him to gather his things because we were leaving. My ex-mother-in-law asked me not to leave, saying the kids were having fun and we could resolve this as adults. She asked my ex what he had said, and he claimed not to remember. I told her I didn't care, and she said we should be good parents. I replied that to be good parents, you need to be good people first.
Boom!
This is dragging on so long too. Like, this makes me so sad for these kids. Collateral damage to this like dysfunctional dynamic.
You got to think of the children. You can't just go choose like your new family over your old family for years and then be like, wait, why do my kids not like me?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because we're not there for them in their formative years.
Yeah. My ex was getting agitated. My ex-mother-in-law asked why we couldn't have a civilized co-parenting relationship. I told her everything I've mentioned here about his free will to see the kids and how the second custody agreement isn't working since he only sees them some weekends. My ex didn't want to discuss it, saying he had too many kids at home. My ex-mother-in-law told him the only kids who should feel comfortable are his, and the comfort of the others should be provided by their biological father. Amen.
Hey, grandma's spitting facts now.
Grandma's spitting facts. Finally, my ex wanted to end the conversation because his mother was scolding him for being a careless father. He also said it was my fault. I asked him to clarify how it was my fault. You can see the kids whenever you want. What more do you want? He started yelling, claiming I was only being petty because I didn't really need the money since I earned more than him and had fewer kids to feed. I told him I wouldn't continue the conversation and that I'd show him what being uncivilized looks like by filing for the overdue child support payments. His mother asked what I meant by overdue payments. I explained that he was 3 months behind. She was furious, slapped him, and demanded to know what he had done with the money for his children. He answered, I couldn't let Junior miss out on attending the same school as my son. I didn't want him to feel inferior. Dude, you're not meeting the mark. Junior doesn't need to go to the same school. It's okay.
Yeah, that's facts. Junior does not necessarily need to go to the same school.
Yeah.
When you have child support payments to
You
make.
need to take care of your other kids too. My ex-mother-in-law said she couldn't believe it and they started arguing. I left. Yet, for context, my youngest son attends a private school and my ex pays for his stepson to attend the same school. Yesterday, my ex-mother-in-law came over and said she would pay the overdue fees. She brought the money in cash. I knew my ex would be furious. Here's some context. My ex-mother-in-law doesn't work, doesn't own anything herself, and lives with my ex-sister-in-law. However, she does have significant savings from her inheritance. If she pays the tuition, my ex knows there won't be much left for him when she passes, even though she's still healthy. He's been asking her for years to invest some of that money in his business ideas, but she's always refused. My ex's retaliation was not picking up the kids this weekend. Whoa.
What a perfect logical leap you took there. You're like, I want to get back at my ex-wife for making me pay child support. I guess I'll be a deadbeat dad. That'll make my kids like me. Dude, you just keep digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper.
This is sad. Yesterday, my ex-sister-in-law called me. She doesn't know all the details yet, but apparently my ex's 15-year-old stepson punched him in the mouth. She said she'll let me know exactly what happened once she finds out. This guy just keeps getting karma.
He is losing on all fronts. And, you know, he might just deserve it from the way he's been acting and treating his family for years.
Man is taking L's left and right. Before anybody asks, the new custody agreement will likely take a year to finalize. The court says the overdue payments are the priority and the rest can wait. We have more urgent cases. Update 2. A promise is a promise. As I mentioned earlier, my ex's stepson had an altercation with him because my ex refused to let him go out. Now I have more details. My ex's stepson had plans to go bowling with some friends. His biological father had already given him permission and money for the outing. However, when he told his mother, she said he couldn't go because they needed him to stay home and watch his younger siblings. My ex and his wife had planned an outing and needed someone to stay with the kids. This led to an argument. The boy raised his voice to his mother, and my ex stepped in to demand that he respect her. The boy replied that he wasn't his father. Trying to maintain authority, my ex told him that as long as he lived under his roof, he had to follow his rules. The boy ignored him and turned him away. My ex followed him and touched his shoulder to get his attention. At that moment, the boy turned around, punched him, and shouted that he wasn't his father and could never compare to him.
Wow, that's...
So now your own kids hate you, and then the stepkids that you prioritized over your own kids hate you too.
His head's spinning right now, not just from the strong right he just received from his stepkid, but from just... every possible decision, every decision he could have made in the last handful of years, it's like he's made the wrong one every time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I will say to all the children of divorced parents, my heart is with you because that is so hard.
Yeah, that's what... Think of the children.
Think of the children.
We have to think of the children.
This poor kid, right? He got permission from one parent, and then the other parents who obviously are not communicating with the dad, that's... A kid should not have to deal with that.
Well, what would you do in that situation if it's your hypothetical child is I want to go bowling, but you had a date night?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like if you're co-parenting, you have to communicate with both parents. Even if you're separated, I feel like parents need to be on the same page. If you don't want to introduce chaos and unnecessary emotional strife, the stepdad could have checked in with the mom like, hey, or vice versa. The bio dad could have been like, hey, Billy just asked me if he could go to the bowling alley. Like, I'm down. I can give him money. And then mom's got to be like, hey, actually, we have this plan, so he can't go. And then boom, they're both on the same page.
Right. Yeah. So it's better, clearer communication. Communication is key. Okay.
And again, this is like my mental health background. I'm like, don't traumatize the kids. The mother scolded him for his behavior. But the boy, still angry, shouted back that he hated her. This version was shared by my ex and his wife to my ex-mother-in-law. My sister-in-law later relayed it to me. They went to see my ex-mother-in-law to try to gain her sympathy and convince her to take care of the kids, the 2 stepchildren, and the baby so they could go out. However, my ex-mother-in-law told them she would not take care of the children. Even the grandma's turning against them.
Literally 0 people on your side.
Yeah. When I spoke to my ex, he mentioned he was dealing with family issues and claimed that the boy's biological father was turning him against him. He didn't give me many details and omitted most of what my sister-in-law had shared. He simply informed me that due to the situation, he wouldn't be able to pick up our children this weekend. The 15-year-old boy is now staying with his biological father. As for what I mentioned earlier, my ex was 2 months behind on child support, and that same week he was supposed to make another payment. He didn't, leaving him 3 months behind. In the end, his mother was the one who covered the overdue amount.
You got to feel bad having your mom cover all that. You gotta, right? Or does this guy not feel bad about anything? I don't know. He's got to feel bad about stuff, right? He's crying.
He's gotta.
But he only feels bad about himself.
Yeah. Well, while she's covering the bills, we're covering the content. So, by the way, you can join us live on YouTube and Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. And we're probably live right now. So tap our profile. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss. This guy is a nightmare and his family is falling apart.
I mean, he's already in the doghouse with his own kids. Now he's in the doghouse with the older stepchild who, like, clearly this guy just does not have any self-awareness, because I can almost see in my head, like, he, instead of, you know, clearly the kid, he's 15 years old. You thought you're going bowling with your friends. Now you're told that you're babysitting.
No,
You are upset.
Yeah.
I can put myself in that person's shoes. I'm mad.
Yeah.
And it's like, Dad already said I can go.
Yeah.
And Mom's like, no. And then you get kind of snippy. And then this
you're like, you're
random
not even my
dude,
father.
the random dude you have no respect for.
Yeah.
Probably because you've seen the way that he treats his own kids.
Yeah.
Is like, you can't say that. And you're just going to be like, shut up, Dave.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are, Dave? You're not my dad. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he's going to say, you can't walk away from me. I mean, maybe don't clock him with the strong right, but on a real level, yeah, that's the solid advice, is like, y'all need some counseling.
Yeah, go get some healing. Regarding the child who attends the same school as my son, it's not the 15-year-old involved in the altercation. It's his younger stepbrother, who is 8 years old, the same age as my son. I decided to enroll my son in that school when the affair became public. At the time, I was working as a kindergarten teacher at the same school, and the boy had been one of my students. We all knew each other, and to protect my children from rumors, I transferred them to a private school. This happened 2 months before the school year ended. Thanks to the circumstances and the support of some kind people, we managed to get them admitted. That's the end.
My ex-husband cheated on me, so I exposed his theft to our friends. Tell everyone. To make an incredibly long story short, I, 27 female, caught my husband, 29 male, cheating back in the beginning of June after he said he wanted a break in our 9-year, 5-year married relationship with a woman he met on an online game in Australia. What was he playing?
How do I find this game? Just kidding.
Who lives in Australia right now and is playing this game? By the way, this comes from the spiciest cucumber on the OK Storytime subreddit. So when I tried to reach out to him after he had left to try and fix things, he said, "I'm not coming back. I'm not afraid of change anymore. I don't want to fix us. I'm done." Dang, that game really turned his whole life around. I wonder if he moved to Australia. I was upset and hurt, and we both respectively moved into our parents' houses, me going to my mom and dad's, and him moving to his mom and grandmother's. During this time, his mom and grandmother still spoke to me and shared their condolences with me. They loved me like their own and were very upset with my ex for doing this to me. Now, a bit about my ex. I loved him greatly. He did have things I would get upset about, i.e. constantly calling into work to play video games. Well, was he actually playing video games or was he cheating on you?
This guy really has a thing for video games.
Not communicating feelings, not doing chores, etc. However, we had fun together. I would often join things he wanted to do together, like LARPing, running a roleplay tavern at Ren fairs, and playing card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Disney's card game Lorcana at the game store he worked at. And we had a great community/friend group in both. That does sound so fun.
What is LARPing?
It's like live action role playing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like if you go to, it's not exact. Like you could do LARPing at a Ren fair.
It's like
but,
cosplaying.
but you're in character. So you're in costume and you're in character.
I love it.
We had fun playing together, and it was a nice way to spend time with ourselves and our friends. When both groups found out that I had filed for divorce, they came to me and asked what had happened. And I told them a very short summary, and they were shocked. Apparently, he had just been telling people we both fell out of love, which is hard to believe because we were a cute couple to most. About a week after he left, I met with him to get him to sign a document that he would need to either refinance his van or sell it, as my mother is a co-signer on his van by a certain time as he plans to move to Australia to be with his mistress. Dang, he's uprooting his whole life for this lady that he met on a game. Has he met her in person before? I'm assuming not. If he didn't pay the $3,000 left on it, it would get put on my mom, and she does not want to handle that on top of her health problems right now. And he has a habit of making late payments. He said it was a fair statement and that he had no problem with it. He then tried to be friendly, ask how the dogs and cats were adjusting. He then gives me the only apology I have still received from him, which was, I'm sorry this has hurt you. Couldn't even say like, I'm sorry I hurt you. Just this situation. Sorry that someone else, the game got in the way.
It's giving gaslight. It's like, I'm sorry you felt like I hurt you. Not even accountability.
No, I had never felt more anger in my life. Flash forward 2 months at the beginning of August, I have a new well-paying job and have a really great support system behind me. My ex has all but abandoned every friend group except a few mutuals here and there and the LARP group, as he had known a majority of them longer than I had, some of them being friends for over 11 years. He had a habit of not reaching out to people until he needed something, and it would always frustrate my friends and I, as we seemed more convenient than actual friends. I think this is where the title starts to come into play. I go into the card shop to play Lorcana, and I had a paper for him to sign for tax reasons. I ask our friend at the counter where he was, and turns out he had been fired for calling in sick and then going to an event where he posted pictures of him being there. So he's also just a bad liar in general. I was shocked as the owner is good friends with my ex, but I guess my ex had called in sick 17 times in 4 months, and the owner got sick of it. He also said he had caught him selling cards back to the shop, but they were my Lorcana cards, as they saw me pull some of them in store and would then see them in his sell pile a few days later when we were still living together. I was furious, but thanked them for telling me. She can't catch a break.
This poor woman.
She gets cheated on and then her stuff is stolen.
Also, like, this man just keeps calling in sick.
Yeah, 17 days. Get a better excuse to ask for some time off. I don't know. This is ridiculous. The next week, I find out from the owner of our LARP group that the members of the group aren't supposed to take money from tips, as no one person is better than the group as a whole. This immediately raised a red flag for me, as my ex took tips, but told me it had been okayed by the owner. I asked them to clarify, and they said they had suspicions of people doing it, but had no proof. Since my ex was going to be going to Australia, I figured I wouldn't tell them, as I wanted him to still have friends before he left. However, they told me he was wanting to come to the planned events for the rest of the year. So I told them. I had found a screenshot from 2 years ago confirming that he had taken $200 from an event in tips and used it to buy a gaming computer. Oh my God. $200 from one event?
Caught up.
Guy's getting tipped well. We did the math, and he had probably taken over $500 total over those 2 years. He's not even good at getting tips.
Honestly, I expected more.
Yeah, over
Like
like 2
500?
years, he only had $500. I feel like my friends who work in service industries
Don't people
will
make
get
that
like,
in one day?
Yeah, we'll get like, $300 in a day or something. This guy's bad. He's a bad server. And I confessed that he had given me some of it, but I was under the impression that the bartending staff could keep the tips handed to us, and have since paid them back in full with interest because I felt so horrible. Oh, so OP was saying she was under the impression that he was allowed to do this and is now giving it all back, which is very considerate.
Okay, we slay an honest queen.
Yeah. The following week, they confront him over phone and gave him multiple tries to come clean on his own, but he denied it and said that he was tired of me trying to ruin his life and that I was setting him up. Then they said they had proof, and he said that he had only taken $100 total from the tips. They show him the screenshot, and he types for a long time, but only responds with a, I see. That's so funny.
What?
He's like, so he goes from, I didn't take anything. And they're like, well, we have proof. And he's like, I'm being set up. And they're like, no, you took money. And he's like, well, I only took $100. And they're like, no. And he was like, I see.
I see.
They offered to let him stay in the group, but he just can't be around the money. But he declined immediately and told them he wishes them the best and didn't respond to any other message, including a message where he can pay back the $200 at most. By the way, you can pay us back by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. But what do you think? What do you do here? Do you just block this man and never talk to him again?
Yeah, I mean, sounds like he's a lame-o and a liar.
Yeah, he
And
sounds
he's
like he
stealing your
sucks.
Lorcana cards.
Yeah. And also, I don't know why his friends are still, I mean, the fact that he stole money and his friends were still like, you can still join the group.
Like,
Just you can't touch the money.
he needs to go to Australia and
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now. I don't know. If I was one of his friends, like, obviously it makes sense why OP doesn't want to be around him because he's been awful to her. But I just don't understand why his friends would want to stick around this guy.
They're good people.
Yeah. But there is a little bit left to the story. Am I an a-hole for doing this? Most of my friends are on my side, even though I told them I wouldn't make them choose a side. Every time I speak about him to my friends who have been in contact, they tell me he's not doing great mentally and try to guilt me. Who's doing that? This is so weird. She said that most of her friends were on her side, but then
Not
tried to
me.
guilt her.
Yeah, yikes.
I can't contact him since he blocked me on every social media and my phone number. I'm torn emotionally as this was someone I loved for 9 years, just throwing everything away and acting like I never existed. I don't want to see him fall and drown, but at the same time, I'm just telling people the truth, and I haven't lied about a single aspect of what I've been saying. It's made me realize he wasn't a great person all the time. I won't be apologizing to him until he gives me more of an apology than he gave me. Am I the a-hole? No, you literally just told people the truth. This guy, was awful. He screwed you over so many times, is moving to Australia, stole your Lorcana cards. You can't forget that.
He'll have a fresh start in Australia. He'll be okay.
He'll move on, and you should move on and not think about him. And any of your friends who are like, oh, you need to apologize, they're crazy.
You're not the a-hole.
No.
And I do, it's good that you feel bad for the guy, but
Yeah.
he did it.
But you don't
to
have
himself.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his fault. But that's also the end of this story.
I needed space to recover after giving birth, but my family said I made them feel not welcome.
Well, it's your birth, so they need to get over
Yeah,
it.
sorry, I just pushed a baby out of myself. Give me a break. I, 24 female, and my partner, 24 male, moved to another state after college, 8 hours away from my family. We are blessed enough to both have great jobs that allowed us to purchase a home and start a family. Blessings on blessings.
Bless.
In February, we found out we were having a baby. By the way, this comes from user Material Exciting 4460 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, his family and my family were both so supportive throughout the pregnancy, throwing us 2 baby showers and spending time helping us get everything ready. We literally didn't have to buy a single item in preparation for our baby's arrival, so we are extremely blessed.
That's great.
Yeah, you could say that again.
That's great.
Didn't even have to buy diapers.
Yeah, you just start pitching. You're like, hey guys, just whoever, if we need some help. And everyone shows up and gives you everything.
Once it was time for her to arrive this month, my family really wanted to be here. My partner only got 2 weeks off of work, so we really wanted to spend the time alone to bond with the baby and figure out how to be parents for the first time. But we didn't want to take away the experience of our families having their first grandchild. Therefore, we agreed to let my mom, his mom, and my aunt stay for a week. My mom and his mom slept at our house while my aunt stayed at my partner's dad's house. My birth was not what I expected. Ain't that the truth?
It never winds up how you expected.
It never quite does it?
No, it never lives up to the expectations.
I was in labor from 9 a.m. Tuesday to 10 p.m. on Wednesday.
What?
A quick 36-hour labor.
What?
No big deal.
No.
Oh, sorry. 37 hours.
No.
Well, and that'll teach you guys to eat those apples. You shouldn't have eaten that apple. You shouldn't. All you had to do was not eat the apple, and apparently God would have let you have babies. Like,
that is the story.
Just
the
it's out
punishment
now.
for eating the apple was that Eve has to have a painful birth.
It's a painful birth.
That's
labor.
crazy.
Yep.
An apple away keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
An apple a day gives you massive amounts of pain.
Yeah, apparently
for life.
One apple thousands
All
and
of your
thousands of years
generations.
ago gives every woman on the planet labor.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't believe that, by the way.
Yeah.
To be
Just to be clear.
Just to be clear, that's kind of, can you imagine if he was that petty?
Yeah.
Or she? Let's have that discussion.
I'm more of a.
If God is a woman, then she was the one who did that to y'all.
Like messy.
My epidural failed, and I felt everything.
This is terrifying.
Okay.
This makes me not want to be pregnant.
Yeah. I pushed for 3 hours and I got 2nd-degree tears from my 8-pound, 12-ounce baby.
It's a big baby.
It's not even that big. You gotta pump those numbers up. That's a small baby. I was absolutely exhausted from screaming in pain for hours on end and being stitched up with no pain meds. I couldn't even do skin to skin right away because of how exhausted I was, so my partner did it for me.
I'm terrified.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I'm so sorry, OP.
probably the most brutal pregnancy
One of
labor
the most I've heard of.
on this on this show for
I
sure.
commend you so much because to go through all of that is what a just what a
37 hours of labor through a failed epidural.
Ugh.
Makes you think. Once I was more coherent, my partner asked if I wanted visitors. I was not ready, so I asked him to let everyone in the waiting room know that the baby was healthy, but I wasn't ready for visitors until the next day.
valid.
Yeah. Hello, 37 hours of labor. The next day, we had visitors from morning until night. I was in so much pain and exhausted, but still wanted everybody to be able to meet the baby. I was discharged 2 days later and came home to a clean house full of groceries and meals. The next few days, my family stayed with us and helped clean and cook. They held the baby, and I tried to make sure everyone got equal time holding her. Although I was stressed about having people stay with us, I ended up appreciating having them there to help with chores so we could focus on our baby.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes,
That's what they should. I think that if you're going to come over after a baby's born, it can't be for like, oh, I want to see the baby. You know,
No.
it's like, I'm here to help.
Yeah, I'm here to help, and then while I'm not helping, I can see the baby.
Yes, exactly.
But you're here to do stuff.
You're here to work.
I had 37 hours of labor. You can labor over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, for God's sake.
Get in the kitchen.
My mom asked if she could come back in less than a month, and I told her that it would be too much. We were planning on going to visit them in December anyway for a weekend. Fast forward a week, they've traveled back, and I get a call from my mom. She's sobbing, saying I made her feel unwelcomed and that she feels like I don't want to have a relationship with her. My relationship with my family has been rocky in the past, and we've all been through a lot, so that had some part in why she felt that way. She said my sister and my aunt told her things that made her think that way, and I was a mess. I thought everything went great when they were here, and I'm 1 week postpartum feeling extremely guilty for making my mom feel that way. She said me not wanting her to come in November and only wanting to stay a weekend in December made her think I didn't want to be around them. I mean,
Honestly,
no.
I think there's just miscommunication going on here.
She feels
I think
insecure.
yeah. And other people are whispering in her ear and are like,
Yeah.
oh, your daughter doesn't want you here. And she's like feeling that. And then her daughter, like OP didn't want to come and, you
just
try
need
to shorten the thing. So
one
just to talk.
sentence.
Yeah.
37 hours of labor.
Yeah.
Hello.
I literally think that OP could just be, say, hey, went through really hard labor. It's not that I don't want to see you. I just need a second to, I need some time to myself and my baby.
I need approximately a month and a half.
Approximately a month. This has nothing to do with you. But I think totally could just be miscommunication here.
I got off the phone and texted my sister and aunt to stop telling my mom negative things. That puts me in an uncomfortable situation. This is when I found out that everyone thinks they have to walk on eggshells around me and that I took away from their experience with our baby.
You took away from their experience with your baby?
Hi, it's my baby.
Girl, she had 30. They're like, your 37-hour labor really put a damper on things.
Yeah, I'll give you 37 hours to get over it, and then let us spend time with your baby.
Yeah. Give me your baby.
My aunt said that she waited in the hospital for 2 days, and when she found out I didn't want visitors the night I gave birth, she was going to go hang out with my partner's family and drink wine because she wasn't going to waste her paid time off. Will you go, Auntie?
Why are they all making it about themselves?
Yeah, this is like, I waited in a room with air conditioning, and I was just sitting there
for like a
minding
couple
my own
hours,
business
probably
while you
reading
were
on my
having
Kindle.
literally earth-shatteringly painful labor for 37 hours.
But it's my day, as I wanted to see the baby.
Yeah, I felt pretty inconvenienced by that. She also said she felt unwelcomed when they were here, and she only stayed to support my mom. Well, shut up, dude. I was so confused because I thought the week went great. This also made me extremely mad because I felt like everyone was making me out to be the bad guy after going through a traumatic birth. So I replied, quote, I'm sorry if me being in labor for 2 days and pushing for 3 hours with no pain meds ruined your PTO.
Nice. Nice. Rub it in their faces.
Slam dunk. Or something along those lines anyway. She didn't respond and hasn't spoken to me since. My sister said they feel like I don't put enough effort in to have a relationship with them because I only want to come for a weekend and haven't spent a lot of time with them since moving states. So am I the a-hole for being unwelcoming after giving birth? No, obviously. You know what? We'll always welcome you guys to join us when we go live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and Twitch.
Just tap our profile.
Every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, just tap our profile. We're probably live right now. You can check. Anyway.
Yeah,
you're definitely not the a-hole. Hello?
No, your family's making it all about themselves.
Whatever happened in the past with your family situation.
Yeah.
Clearly is influencing their sort of perspective on you, because from everything we read, it sounded like you went through a traumatic birth experience and still gritted your teeth and was like, I will let these people spend a week with us.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh well, we want more, we want this birth to be fun for us, and you're like, guys, I'm just trying to take a minute.
Why is it that when people do this about weddings and babies, they try to make it about them?
It's not about you.
Instead of the person having the wedding and having the baby.
Exactly.
Get over yourselves.
Yeah. No, literally, like if you came out, let's say you came out, I don't know, you got time off of work or something to go see your family member having a baby, and then it turns out that you can't be in the room or something.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to deal with that.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna go, I guess I'm just gonna go hang out with these people because I'm not gonna waste my paid time off. It's like, you idiot, you're getting paid for time off.
Yeah.
None of it's wasted. Stupid.
So silly.
What?
So silly.
I hope this story ends with the baby developing superpowers and laser beaming all of these annoying family members.
So you tried to make my mother feel bad.
Oh, I would just vengeance. I was thinking more of like Baby Jack from The Incredibles, where it's more just like
got a nightmare kid.
He's just got a lot of baby powers.
Yeah. Oh no, I was thinking of really super.
It's like, you want to spend time with the kid?
Baby.
Sure, spend time with the kid.
You gotta take
you were
care
thinking
of
like
him.
Stewie Griffin being Okay, so here's the update. First off, I want to thank everyone so much for your kind words and validation. I'm definitely a people pleaser, so knowing that I wasn't in the wrong from a large majority makes me feel better. We're still going to Christmas. They spent $800 on our flights, but I'm going to go to a therapist to prepare to set firmer boundaries and let them know how hurt I was by them making everything about them. I'll update with how that conversation went, which may be a while. My heart is with all of the moms on here who have gone through something similar. Mom guilt is so real and family dynamics are hard to navigate, so my love goes out to all of you. And that is the end
Man.
of that story.
Yeah. My final advice is I think that you can have a conversation with your mom and clear up some miscommunication and you'll be chill with her.
Yeah.
But your aunt and your sister kind of suck.
My daughter excluded me from a college tour, so I'm thinking of excluding her from something too.
Like her tuition?
Or maybe the will? Okay, I'll try to make a long story short, but it may take a bit, so buckle up.
Just keep it long. It's fine.
I, 38 female, found out when I was 19 that I was going to have a surprise blessing with my boyfriend. We decided to do the right thing and got married about 4 months before I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. 18 months later, I gave birth to another gorgeous baby girl, and my husband and I finally learned how to use contraceptives. Sarcasm. By the way, this comes from user dependent25059 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
What's that? Contraceptums.
Contraceptums?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is it?
Never heard that word before.
They're little willy jackets.
What's that?
Oh, buddy. After this, I'm gonna talk to you about the birds and the bees.
What?
When the girls were about 5/7 years old, their father and I separated and got a divorce. It was not a very pretty split. We are on better, friendlier terms now. What made me feel the worst about it is that I couldn't keep our family together for my daughters, and it made me feel guilty ever since. I moved us back to my hometown and lived with my parents until I met my now husband, and we purchased our own home.
Nice.
I moved back to my hometown because I have a lot of family there who have been a great support for me as a single mom, and I had a great childhood growing up there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, my parents, and my sister, my only sibling. So the whole family squad is there in the hometown. My sister has never been married. She is the smart one and has no children of her own. Ever since the girls were born, she has been a great and loving aunt, and I have always encouraged her as a mom-like figure in their lives, even getting her cards, gifts, and celebrating her on Mother's Day. As a single parent moving back home and essentially starting everything in my life all over, I worked a lot. I started working in retail until I was able to get a job with a great company, and I worked my way up to the top level of management, working directly under the owner, making big moves, OP. It has been long hours and even having to do some work at home, like taking calls and sending emails. I have never been a perfect mother. I've missed some things. I was unable to get some things done for them, but I always did what I could to fix it or make it up to them. My daughters were my drive, my motivation to work harder, to be able to give them more, and that they wouldn't want for anything. I started putting money away as soon as I could for their college fund, and I recently took on a second job so I can add more to their accounts. I just don't want my girls to have debt and to be able to study and learn whatever they want and find their career that they're going to be happy with. And they have been my whole world. I signed up to be involved with anything I could, volunteering to help work fundraisers with them, being a substitute coach when they needed one to go to games for volleyball or cheer, taking them to fun events at the library, their school, going to at least one MLB game per year, and seeing at least one family Broadway show in the city around the holidays.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, hey, it sounds like you were really trying to, make some memories with the girls.
That was a great childhood.
To be short, my time was devoted to them, and if it was something I couldn't take my daughters with me or that they would enjoy, I wouldn't go to or do it. Fast forward to more recent times, my now husband and I got our house together in 2021, and we lived there with my daughters until last year when my daughter got a job and took some college credit classes that it made more sense for them to move back in with my parents who are 20 minutes away. I don't see them daily like I used to, but I talk to them daily, I communicate, and try to stay involved with everything. My oldest daughter is 18, and ever since she was about 15, she has had the itch to be independent. I mean, they all do, right?
Yeah.
We all get the itch when we become teenagers and high schoolers. We want that independence. I encouraged both her and her sister to put some fiscal responsibility on what they want, just to help them understand the value of a dollar and take care of things they helped purchase. For example, we got them cell phones when they were 10 or 11, but flip phones. And I would not get them smartphones until they could pay for half of it.
Nice.
That's
This
a good
is great
lesson.
parenting.
Very good.
You have to work for stuff? What?
We did the same thing for their first car and other, large purchases. My oldest got her first and current job at a pharmacy when she was 2 weeks away from turning 16. Well, that's early.
Dang.
Well, I guess it's not that early, but it's
Well,
towards the beginning of when you'd get employment.
I started working at Summit when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Half that age.
Don't rat on him. You're breaking labor laws.
No, this was on the weekend to cut
He said-
firewood.
He said, "No, I volunteered to do all that work."
I started working at the actual sawmill at 16.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah. Over the summer, she studied hard and passed her pharmacy tech certification. She is that driven, always having A's on her report card, not accepting anything but the best from herself, etc. I've always questioned myself if I was pushing her to feel like I was expecting perfection from her. But from multiple conversations with her, she assured me that her drive for perfection is just who she is, and not me pushing her to be so. One thing me and my husband, her dad, and even my sister have noticed about my oldest over the past couple of years is that she's developed a tendency to only reach out to us when she wants something.
I did that before
Everybody
I went
does
to
that.
college. Oh, I definitely did that with my parents before I went to college.
Everybody does that when they reach a certain age. The only thing you want to talk to your parents about is like, yeah, that's cool. Can you pay for my gas, please? Can you pay
Yeah.
for this? Can you help me
'Cause
with that?
you don't realize how important they are and how much you want a relationship with them until
course.
after you leave home.
I mean,
That's when I realized
for the
that.
vast majority of people, I would say yes.
Yeah.
It started after she began dating her boyfriend back when she was 15. And to provide context, I don't feel her boyfriend is the cause of this change exactly. He's always been willing to do anything with our family, always kind and respectful to her and to us. I've come to care about him. I have come to care about him as what I call some of her friends, as one of my part-time kids. Now, I went to a university near where we used to live when her dad and I were married, where he still lives. I have always talked about my alma mater with the girls when we talked about going to college, and if they ever wanted to go look around as they got older, to let me know. We had a junior high track meet there, and after the event was over, I took them around the grounds and buildings and just talked about how great the school was, singing all its praises, etc. I even periodically took the girls with me when they were little to a class because their sitter couldn't watch them. So there is a little sentimental history there for us as well. I also need to add, my sister went to the same university. So there's a little bit of history, a little bit of family history at the university. My oldest daughter is now 18 and a senior. A requirement from her school is she has to do a couple of campus tours during her senior year. Last month, she told me that she's scheduled to do a tour of my alma mater this Friday.
All right.
I got so excited and I told her I would take time off of work to go with her and I would love to look around with her, etc., etc.
Dude, this is such a great chance to bond with your daughter about memories you had, and then, like, it would be so fun to do that.
Yeah, I sure hope the title of the story doesn't get in the way of all that. She then says she's only allowed one person to go with her on the tour, and she asked her boyfriend to go with her.
Boo. Come on.
Just
Come
spend some time
on.
with mom.
What? Honestly,
She's all she's hyped about it.
I understand the boyfriend, important person in someone's life. They went there. That's their alma mater.
He didn't even go there.
She's an alumni.
Come on.
Don't you want to go whenever you're touring? Dakota, whenever you're touring, wouldn't you like to know all the ins and outs, not just from the tour, but all the fun stuff, all the secret spots, all the best taco places?
Yes.
Not like, this is dorm room. This is office. This is classroom.
I was a little disappointed at first, but I understood. She's very close to him and it makes sense for him to go if he is also considering going to the school. I asked if I could just be there and hang around campus with them after their tour. She said sure, and I requested the day off. Over this past weekend, I made a comment about how we need to talk about a game plan for this Friday, and she made a comment of, "Mom, you can't be on the tour with me. I mean, you could set up your own tour appointment, but I'm only allowed 2.
You said one earlier.
I think she said she's only allowed 2 tours.
What?
Right?
What?
You can set up your own tour
an
appointment.
alumni. Oh, you're an alumni. Great.
Yeah, I feel like this really wouldn't be that big of a deal if she was just like, "Can my mom also come?" They'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, we don't care."
Yeah.
It's like this is like one of those fake rules that doesn't really exist.
Also, like, going with your boyfriend's kind of lame.
I mean, not if they're like trying to go to the same school.
Yeah, true.
But
then he
like,
can schedule his own appointment.
You might not want to stay with your boyfriend after you realize that there's 7 billion people out there that didn't go to your high school. Like, it's just low key.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it could only be her and her boyfriend. I kept saying that, well, we can just walk around campus after your tour like we did the last time we talked about this trip, but she just seemed so annoyed that I was trying to go. Last night, I was with my mother and sister at our book club when my daughter came by to get my signature on a form from me. I noticed that she had some form and parking passes for my alma mater, and she handed my sister similar forms. My gut was like, okay, her aunt got a tour set up with the school. Weird that neither one mentioned that to me. But then I realized her aunt was going on the tour with her and her boyfriend.
Allowed to. That's the second.
Oh, so the aunt's going instead of mom? Oh no. The cool aunt took your spot. So I asked her straight up, so that thing you just handed your aunt, is that for going on the tour with you Friday? My daughter tried to make a little joke about it. We do use humor a lot in our family, and basically said, yes. I clearly got aggravated, but I only said in response, I will see you on Friday. I saw red. We all parted ways, and I wanted to cool off before I said anything more about it. When I am mad, I need to cool off before I talk about it, or I get very mean and hurtful. It's something I have been trying to get better at. So I finally sent my daughter a text because I just knew if I talked, I would go off. I told her I was owed an explanation as to why she made me believe I couldn't go on the tour with her, and why she thought I wouldn't find out her aunt went with her. Did her aunt even know I wanted to go, or about the deceit? She replied that she just wanted to spend time with her aunt, that she initially misunderstood what the tour limits were about how many guests she could have with her. I'm still not sure if that's exactly the truth. And that her aunt explained in conversation with her that she could have 2 other people with her on the tour, and she just really wanted her aunt to go. I was just hurt.
So, right here, I remember whenever I was going to college, I was butting heads so hard with my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, me and her, that was probably like the worst part of our relationship. There's been like 2 bad parts with my mom and I's relationship. That one was like one of the bad ones.
Well, like you wanted to go somewhere else, and she...
No, we agreed on that, but just like going up, I was ready to leave the house, and we were just butting heads with everything. Also, clocking the humor thing, I think that OP, like, she'll probably like say something in a humor like, clean your room. Oh, clean your dirty room, you rascal, but like in a mean way. And she did say that she gets mean at times when like it's a part of confrontation. So I think that OP, that your child here is just kind of like ready to leave, and she just sees you as like, I don't want to be around her. I'm ready to leave. This is just annoying, because that's how I felt. And I have seen families where like they use humor to like kind of get at one another.
Yeah.
Dude, it gets so toxic so quick because there's no humor in it. It's just like in a laughing manner, but it's just like a jab.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, okay, so how am I supposed to feel about that?
I think OP, I'm sorry if this like is harsh, and I probably don't know you. There might be some layers you need to figure out with your communication skills, because it seems like your daughter is not really receiving that, and that's why there's a disconnect between you two.
Very nice, very deep.
Thank you.
Her aunt and I work at the same company, and I got a little curious. I looked at when I requested Friday off versus when her aunt requested it off. I requested it off immediately after my daughter and I talked about the tour on October 25th. My sister requested it off November 12th. I pointed that out to my daughter. She again explained her misunderstanding of the guest limit, and she wanted her aunt to go. I asked her why she didn't tell me anything about it, though. I've always been approachable, and they know they can talk to me about anything, and they have. Low key, though, well, maybe this is just how you're getting about this one context of like the college trip. But I feel like if this is like how meticulous you're kind of looking into this situation, that might cue us into as to why she didn't want you to go.
Because like, let's look at other situations. How did you handle those? And how did your daughter feel after you handled them that way?
And it really could be just as simple as like, we're wrong about both of those things, and it's just an 18-year-old who wants to feel independent and would feel like going on a college tour with my mom would not make me feel very independent. So it could just be that. it really could just be her being 18. They told me the first time that they tried booze or experimented with substances, and I never once even got upset or even punished them. My stance and my daughters have always known this. Teenagers are going to feel tempted to try that stuff no matter what I say or do, and I taught them what would happen if they try that stuff, but I want them to always come to me if they are in a situation of being too wasted to drive or not having a sober driver available or whatever it might be, and I would never get upset with them. I would rather know and be involved and encourage them to contact me instead of making bad decisions in order to avoid getting into trouble. And it's worked really well. They've told me about every time they were ever offered or tried something, and I would ask some questions. We would talk about it, and they came to the conclusions on their own to avoid doing that stuff again because of how they felt afterwards. I feel like hangovers are the best teachers of why it's a bad idea to get wasted. So, it just perplexed me that she didn't feel like talking to me about this whole mess. I felt so cut out of her life since then. She knew that I really wanted to go, but she didn't feel that she could talk to me about what she wanted. Especially how her whole life I've worked, I've given and tried to be there for her and her sister. I told her that she is not going to cancel on her boyfriend or her aunt for this tour because it is what it is and I don't want her disappointing them. But it'll never disappoint us when you join us when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Just tap our profile.
Tippity tap tap.
We're probably live right now. You might want to go check. Anyway, so, I mean, where are we at?
OP
I think
feels betrayed.
OP's got feelings, and sometimes feelings are messy. It's like, this is your alma mater. A lot of stuff is mixed up about it, about how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think your daughter really fully understands how important this clearly was to you.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, my mom's just being a dork about, you know, like the alma mater. But it's like, it really sounds like it was kind of a super meaningful thing to you. I don't think she ever understood.
I don't think she will until after she's out to college to understand that. Because when you're that close to your family, you were striving, you were begging for that independence.
Yeah, I mean, from everything that was described about the daughter, like the oldest daughter, how she was, you know, she's been wanting to feel that independence for like 3 years. She started dating her boyfriend, which, you know, that'll do it to you. But a part of me thinks even if she did know how important this was to OP, she probably still wouldn't have wanted her to go.
No, it's that independence, bro.
She wants to taste that sweet, juicy independence.
Dude, I remember the first night I got to college, I went to Cookout, and I was like, I don't need to tell anyone when I need to get it back. This is amazing. I love this.
Freedom!
I can do whatever I want now.
Amazing. All right, well, let's see how this ends. My frustrated and hurt nature wants to go do something she wanted to do with me without her. Oh, don't get petty, Mom.
Come on.
Don't get petty. Go to the local Christmas market with my husband and her sister without her. Or do some holiday shopping with the ladies of the family, but without her. Just paint a picture of what cutting me out of her life is really like.
Okay.
But I am her mom. I want to be there for her. I will always be here for her, and I don't want her to ever feel like I'm not here for her. But would I be the a-hole if I did one of those things without her, just to put it bluntly, to show her how it feels? Yeah, you would be the a-hole, because that's not putting it bluntly. That's putting it, like, you know, discreetly by excluding her from a family event and using that as a pretext to, teach her a lesson?
Yeah.
That you're not actually explicitly teaching her. I don't even think, you just want to be petty, I can tell.
Yeah. I think
you're not putting,
it
just to
seems
put
like
it bluntly.
you're spiraling. Just take a moment, take a breath, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, your daughter's growing up. You got to reckon with it.
Yep.
It sucks, but hey, maybe you can have this experience with your younger daughter.
Yeah.
And I mean,
honestly,
at some point, you're going to spend time with her on campus. It doesn't have to be during the tour.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to see her at some point.
Maybe. I don't know.
Give her some time. She'll probably start missing you.
Daughter might go low contact if this isn't like, I think there's just there's an issue between you and your daughter's communication.
Yeah.
And I would go to therapy to figure that out.
Yeah.
Is that the end?
That is the end of that story.
My anti-vax family doesn't care about my immunocompromised girlfriend. I'm not talking to them anymore. Fair.
Yeah. And you shouldn't
keep
let them
her alive.
Talk and spit all over your immunocompromised girlfriend either.
My girlfriend has an autoimmune disease. During COVID, she was on an immunosuppressant. Her rheumatologist explained to us that this immunosuppressant brings her immune system down to about 40% strength of a normal person's. That it is important for us to remain social distancing and to especially distance from those who were unvaccinated due to them shedding a higher viral load, making it harder for her immune system to battle. By the way, this comes from Disastrous Hearing 72 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So I told my family about this during COVID and said it's important for them to get vaccinated. If they do not, we don't feel comfortable coming around. But some of my family members are anti-vax. My mom and dad were both vaccinated, but my siblings, 26 male, 32 female, 33 female, and their SOs were not. I told my parents to talk to my siblings and hope they would convince them to get vaccinated since they were refusing to when I mentioned it. My parents were pro-vaccine at the time, but said they tried convincing them, but do not want to get involved because it's heated and it's important to them that they can keep seeing the grandkids. I do think that there's only so much you can do, like from their point of view. Like you can only tell people to get vaccinated so
like,
much, and
are
it's
you
like
gonna hold them down and stick it in their arm like
around
do that.
Around Christmas time 2021, my mom invited us for Christmas, but we turned it down because we didn't want to be over when my siblings and their SOs were not fully vaccinated, which on OP's side, completely valid. And like the parents should support them in that. That's where their support needs to come in.
Yeah, just like I'm not trying to have you guys unalive my girlfriend by talking to her.
Apparently, my mom was upset and said I was making her choose Christmas with us over Christmas with the grandchildren and their parents. All I said is we don't want to be around unvaccinated people. My sister was pregnant at the time and constantly posting anti-vax messages on her social media. Ugh.
Delicious.
Yeah, great. When she wanted to come over to my house to drop something off, I told her she needs to wear a mask, and she lectured me saying I don't have to worry because my girlfriend and I, are vaccinated. People just don't understand how these things work. She then invited us to her gender reveal party, which contained a bunch of people who were not vaccinated at the time. At this point, I was getting very fed up with being made the bad guy by being invited and having to turn it down, and simply said, sorry, we won't be able to make it, trying to not say what I really thought and cause a fight. My family was getting upset with me because they kept inviting us over, but we kept refusing because they were not vaccinated. We were also upset because they were not taking my girlfriend's condition seriously. Remember, this was peak COVID. My siblings started to post a lot of anti-vax stuff on their social media about the Canada Freedom Convoy. And what is that?
Oh, it was the truckers.
The truckers?
Yeah, there was like, because they weren't letting people get in and out of like the Canadian border or something. I don't know.
I used to call my parents every week since I moved out of the house. One phone call got a bit heated, and it was starting to sound like they were getting fed up with me arguing with them about my sibling posting anti-vax content when my girlfriend was immunocompromised, saying they're allowed to believe what they want and what if you're wrong about the vaccine being safe. So there it is. They're siding with the siblings.
What if? What if you're wrong?
What if you're wrong?
What if you're wrong?
What if you're stupid?
They're wrong?
Yeah.
What if the sky is made out of chocolate? I don't know. What are we talking
There's
about?
a lot of what ifs going thrown around. I ended that phone call and felt like I was annoying them. That's the thing. It's the problem here is not that the parents are like, oh, we're being thrown into the conflict and stuff and we don't want to be a part of it. It's that they kind of believe the anti-vax siblings.
Yeah.
The last couple times I called, it turned into arguing about my siblings and defending my girlfriend. So I decided I wasn't going to call anymore. Just felt really unwanted and wanted to wait for them to call me for once. Weeks passed with no phone call. The longest stretch we have ever gone. All of a sudden, my parents were posting anti-vax Freedom Convoy content on their social media. And that's it. Because they believed it. That's
so
why they
weird.
were,
The vax stuff is so weird because it's like with any medical thing ever.
Yeah.
There will always be a percentage of people
who just don't believe in it.
Like side effects or like experience things that are like complications, where it's like the thing with all these vaccines, it was like the heart stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that's the same thing with every single
literally
medical
everything
thing ever. It's like anesthesia. It's like
surgeries.
You go under in a surgery, there's a chance that you
could not live. Yeah.
Like, but no one's ever like, oh, don't give me the anesthesia,
don't
doc.
give it to
Just
me.
like cut me up.
No, it's crazy.
Take out my liver.
It's crazy.
While I'm awake.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I guess that guy had cirrhosis. Don't drink too much.
No, this is
okay.
Anyway. This felt like a betrayal since they were not previously anti-vax and said they didn't want to get involved when I asked them to speak up for my girlfriend. No, they were already on your sibling side. Regardless of maybe they were flipped a little bit, like the siblings convinced them to get on this train of anti-vaxxers, but they definitely were already on your sibling side before then, because it is one thing to not be able to say to someone like, oh, you need to get a vaccination, because you can't really control if someone does that. But it's another thing to not like defend OP's actions as well. To be like, oh, well, that's fine for your siblings to do, but we're not going to defend you taking your own actions to protect your girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like, hello, hi, I'm just.
You
trying
said
to
you
keep
didn't
her
want to get
from
involved,
not
but you're actively getting involved.
being violently ill. Sorry, I guess I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Don't want my girlfriend to be sick. Oops.
Months passed. After just not calling my parents and my parents not attempting to contact me, I got a text from my pregnant sister, basically saying how selfish I am for abandoning the family, lecturing me that COVID is not real, saying I'm acting like my girlfriend is the sickest person in the country, and a few other offensive things. I responded with F you, and that was it. A few weeks later, my dad sent me an email saying how disappointed he is that I abandoned everyone and that I said F you to my sister. He also ranted about Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, is a dictator, and that he and my mom do not believe COVID is real anymore after my brother-in-law went to Ottawa in his semi-truck with the convoy.
And there it is.
And
And there's the truth.
Oh, man.
COVID's not real. Don't you know your brother drives a semi-truck?
He drove in the convoy.
Justin Trudeau's going to try to take over the world?
It's important to note that all I did was stop calling. It's not like I blocked them or ignored their phone calls. They not once tried contacting me. It was over a year later until my girlfriend finally called my parents and sister to try and fix the situation. My sister has nothing to apologize for and just said I was being selfish and that them believing COVID wasn't real. What do you think people are getting sick with? What do you mean?
It's not real. What do you mean?
I just don't understand
fake.
that. I just don't understand that.
Those people they were paid actors.
And that vaccines are dangerous was their choice and should not stop us from coming around. My mom said she was upset that I was going to ruin Christmas and it was more important that the grandkids were there instead of us. And that is why she didn't want to call anymore. My dad was upset that I was being a know-it-all at the time. Basically, I was arguing their conspiracy theories when they were arguing why it's okay for us to come for Christmas. And didn't think my girlfriend was gonna stick around anyway. We're still together. We somehow managed to kind of move on and started talking again with my parents. But honestly, it didn't feel the same at all. I really just lost all respect for them. Everyone kind of showed their true colors. We talk maybe once every 2 months and we don't bring up my siblings. And you should always bring us up by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile.
Pull up our profile and tap it and
tap it. Honestly, it seems like OP's doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to have a relationship with his parents, but they're making it so incredibly hard.
I mean, like I said, it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't block them.
I didn't block them.
I didn't block them. I wasn't going to ignore their calls. They just did not even reach out.
Yeah.
So that
It's
tells
like,
you a lot
this is
right
on
there.
them. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's anything wrong with you standing on business about
no.
being like, hey,
You're trying to protect your girlfriend's life.
yeah, we just don't want her to get
And it's not even like,
violently ill.
it's not like you're saying like, you're holding people down and giving them a shot. No, you're literally just saying, I can't be around you because my girlfriend could literally
Yeah.
lose her life.
We won't be at the baby shower. And they're like,
I
get
know.
on a stupid McGee over here with
Yeah.
his big scary, what is your girlfriend's gonna get sick?
Yeah.
What, people get sick? Yeah,
Everyone gets sick.
right. Yeah, right. Walk it off.
My sister has since had 2 babies and I have not seen either of them. Going on 3 years having not spoken to my sibling. I have felt guilty for not seeing my newborn nieces and the rest of my niblings. And somehow I also feel guilty for not talking to my family. But I just have lost so much respect for them with how they handled COVID with an immunocompromised family member in their lives. They literally did nothing to support her condition and made us out to be an inconvenience for them. Because of this, I'm not interested in having them back in my life. And it's been so long, I don't even know where to start the conversation. So I just haven't called. And they haven't tried either. Am I the a-hole for not talking to them or coming around anymore? No. It's not even that you didn't even do anything here. Like, you're just not reaching out, but they're also not reaching out. So it's just mutually,
The whole situation has exposed
Yeah.
their own, like,
they're willing
BS.
to put their thoughts and their, like, I don't know, ideals above your partner's life.
yeah.
I guess that's where we're
and
at.
then the rationale of like, well, we didn't think that she was even going to be
not
around
even
very
that
long
sick,
anyway.
yeah.
So we didn't care if we killed her.
Yeah, she's not going to be around that long.
Yeah, what do we care? My mother-in-law gave me the silent treatment after an argument, but I won't stand for it. Mom, stop doing this to me! My in-laws have moved into my house until they can find a house nearby because they want to be close to their grandchild, my 2-year-old daughter. The duration of this agreement is about 10 years. By the way, this comes from user Germanicus J. Caesar. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, there was an Easter egg hunt in my neighborhood this past Saturday that I wanted my daughter to experience. It cut into her nap time, but that was okay by me. This did not seem okay with my mother-in-law, who said my daughter shouldn't go. I replied that she is going and will have a good time, just like she did on her first Halloween, which, by the way, they also objected to. I asked my mother-in-law for help because I was going to take pictures with my expensive DSLR camera. As we were about to go out the door, she said, "Oh, I don't need to go if you aren't bringing your camera." I responded that I do have my camera, and internally I was getting annoyed. We walked across the street to the Easter egg hunt, and she complained the entire walk. We got there, and she didn't help with my daughter so I could take pictures. She just stood there like a bump on a log. I barely got any good pictures. She then said to me, "Looks like you don't need me and I can leave now." I snapped and don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something sarcastic. She replied and I responded back. She then informed me that it is unmannerly to argue in public. I was mad and said, "I don't care." She walked off. What a crazy thing to be like in an argument, being like, you have bad manners for arguing. It's like, dude,
Skill issue.
she was right, and I was wrong about snapping off in public. However, I had no idea how deeply this seemed to have enraged her, but she gave me the silent treatment for 2 days straight. I kept my husband informed, and he didn't say or do much. This morning, I tried to engage in conversation, and she, once again, totally ignored me, just like a good adult. So I asked her in front of our respective husbands when she was going to stop giving me the silent treatment and start talking to me again. This started a major doo-doo storm. She tells me that she doesn't know how to talk to someone with a mental illness. This excuse is absolutely ridiculous. I may be bipolar, but I am medicated correctly and see a psychiatrist and therapist regularly. I've never been to a mental institution or anything serious like that. She then goes on to say that I don't clean, I don't dust, I stay up all night and sleep all day and eat all the time. I may not be the neatest person, but I'm not a slob. I go to bed at 10 p.m. and I wake up anywhere between 5 and 7 a.m. and sometimes take a 2-hour nap when we put my daughter down for a nap. I told her that my mental disorder has nothing to do with this and that eating has nothing to do with anything, and that for someone who harps about manners so much, it was rude and abusive to ignore me in my own house for 2 days, making me very uncomfortable. I did apologize for calling her out in public. Now it looks like there is a good chance the in-laws are leaving my house, maybe for good. I spoke to my father about all this, and he suggested a sit-down meeting with the 4 of us to air out our grievances. This incident isn't everything, but it's been brewing up to this point. I called my husband to schedule this meeting, but I have no idea if it's going to happen. He's pretty pissed off both at me and his mom. He'll say he'll see what he can do. Not sure what I'm asking other than, does the hive mind have any other suggestions on what else to do? And there is an update. I mean, what would your suggestion be?
I don't know, but it's really hitting me that we're the hive mind.
We are a member. We have a membership to the hive
We're
mind.
a membrane of the hive mind, and I don't like that.
I mean, I'd say what you did, OP, was kind of the best route to take, like especially if like the first time that you want to sort of press the issue, where it's like just getting like your husband and her husband, you know, present, and just going like, "Hey, so what's our issue?" I understand that we had an uncomfortable moment, but not speaking to me like at all, ignoring me, is a very childish thing to do.
And I feel like if you do press the issue, it'll be like it's like a game to her, and you're like, "Ahaha, I won! Like I won this argument," and okay. Well,
Right.
Now you really want to talk about it? Okay.
But I
It's
think
like,
that's why you want to you take the don't
high
make it a
road?
one-on-one.
take it. Oh, I mean, you could take the high road too, and she's like, okay, fine, just like whatever. Let's just get this. Like, let's just air this out.
You just want the other people in her life to be able to like who she might listen to, which would be like her son, her husband, where it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, why are you like low-key bullying my wife? Like why are you trying to
Why are we
trying
being
to
so-
power play my wife right now by giving her the silent
Yeah, and
treatment?"
I feel like if you bring in like those important people in her life, like you said, and they press the matter, like, "Hey, why are you being so petty? Why are you
Right.
being immature? Why are you being really childish here?" And she'd be like,
All right, let's get into the update. I greatly appreciate the comments and advice people have given me. I've read every one so far. When I came home today with my toddler, my husband was already home and his parents were out looking at houses, so we had some time to talk. He said that I haven't exactly been a good host and that I need to get moving on unpacking the boxes while he's gone at work and get the house ready enough so that some cleaning people can come twice a month. I said if that's what it takes to make your mother happy about the house being up to her cleaning standards, that was perfectly fine by me. I would make an effort. He also noted that my sleep schedule has been a bit off and he was worried about me. I explained to him that every night I keep the toddler, we take turns daily, and she wakes me up in the middle of the night. A lot of times I can't get back to sleep, so I'm up at 3 a.m. doing something productive on the computer, like finding a job. He said if it took him taking the baby overnight for a while to get my sleep back in order, then he would be fine doing that. He told me he and his parents both just think I sit on my butt and play on the computer. I explained, once again, and somewhat annoyed, that I'm trying to find a job, and that takes time on the computer. Right now, we have 2 mortgages, and the last time we had 2 mortgages, we were very stressed out because of money issues. He said I don't need a job immediately, that we are doing very well financially. He said that if I did find a job, that it would make my in-laws full-time caregivers of our toddler while they were trying to sell their house and find a new one up here. There are huge wait lists to get into a good daycare. We're talking months. And that probably wasn't going to work out. I agreed to put trying to find a job on the back burner until they are more settled and or we can find a good daycare. Frankly, I'm going to make finding a daycare a major priority now because I don't need this crap from them. When I tried to explain to my husband that what she said to me about my mental health and eating all the time, etc., were low blows and unacceptable, he tried to say that to her what I initially told her were low blows. I didn't agree or disagree with him right there and then, but thinking about it more, I know that's absolute BS. I called her out on her abuse. She heaped on more abuse, and while I have already apologized to her for being rude to her in public, she has yet to apologize to me about anything she has said or done.
Oh, do you see where she's at? Do you see what she's riding right now? It's a horse.
A horse?
She's on her high horse.
Because she's so high up there on that high horse, I couldn't even tell what she was on. It was such a weird.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was like, are these the legs of a very tall giraffe? No, it's a horse.
It's just a really tall horse.
A very, very, very tall horse.
That's what she's on. And someone needs to get her off her high horse.
Hopefully, husband to the rescue. Da-da-da. My husband also thinks that the silent treatment wasn't abusive. I explained to him that it is abusive. When you do that to a child or in the workplace, it would be considered a hostile work environment. So why is it acceptable in my own house? He then told me that she once ignored him for a week and then just shrugged. I told him that was very abusive, and then he just said we agree to disagree. I'm still not sure what to make of this. More than a few people in relationships, including my husband, want me to be the bigger person and apologize first. After thinking about it, I'm not going to do it. I have already apologized for being rude, and my apology has yet to be accepted. The silent treatment and the insults about my mental health were insulting, ignorant, and abusive too.
Yep.
That's true. You deserve apologies for that.
Yeah.
Before
and
you need
already
to do more.
apologized.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
standing up for yourself and what you were called out on, which was nothing. That was not fair for her to say any of that or justify it. She was just being despicable. So yeah, the fact that no one's saying no one's approving that you apologize first, or like, hey, you did that, and then no one's saying you should stick up for yourself is really dumb. This is really stupid, and especially your husband's like, you apologize, but you got to really apologize. Put your heart into it.
Yeah, come on, husband. Why? I thought I wanted you to be a W. You are not being a W right now, husband.
You're being an L.
I also grew up in an emotionally abusive household, and I've unfortunately worked in way too many toxic environments. I've experienced this over and over with abusers and toxic managers. When you are made to apologize for something that really wasn't your fault, it signals to the other person that they were right all along and that you accept the gave you then and in the future. Seriously, F that. I've already apologized for my rudeness in public. I'm not going to apologize again until she apologizes about the abuse. However, some good news. When she and my father-in-law came back from house hunting, she actually looked me in the eye and talked to me. My husband has said to me that he is going to speak to his parents first to try and figure out what's going on, and then we will all have a discussion to air out and settle our grievances. I'm still stressed out about all this, though. I just want to get over this and move on. And there is a second update.
Get into it.
Let's dive in. After I posted my first update and read some of the helpful responses, I couldn't wait another minute to discuss this issue with my husband because I was literally shaking and breathing hard from anger. I woke him up and told him we had issues that needed to be discussed right now. I explained how throughout this whole process, he did not have my back. I explained how even though he thinks the silent treatment is not abusive, he absolutely, positively is wrong. And it is abusive. If nothing else, it is a massively manipulative tactic that was used for 2 days straight to make me very uncomfortable in my own house. I told him that he had more than enough chances to talk to his mother about the situation, that I had more than once explained to him what was going on, and that he did not help amend the situation other than ignoring it or invalidating my feelings. I told him that myself and my daughter are his number one priority, that the three of us are supposed to be a team, and that he and his parents ganging up on me is unacceptable. If he continues to choose them over me, then I would seriously consider this being the end of the road. I told him we seriously needed couples counseling, that I would talk to my therapist about what's going on, and that I would try to do better, but I can't live with the multiple passive-aggressive incidents that I have not posted about that have been brewing with my in-laws, which culminated into this incident. He didn't have much to say.
Of course he did.
Well,
Wow.
he's like, okay.
He went,
Cool, sounds good. Yeah, we'll do that. He didn't have much to say. He had the baby that night, so she woke up after I was done talking, got snuggled in between us, and I cuddled her and said, do you want to discuss this further? He said no, he needed some sleep and needed to think about it all. The next morning, I came into his room, and he and the baby were dressed. I said, so what's the game plan? He said, I don't know. How do you want to do this? I said something like, we need to have a united front, and we need to tell them that while we haven't been the best hosts, they're passive-aggressive and abusive behaviors are toxic in this household and they need to go. He stayed silent for a bit and I asked him what he was thinking. He told me he's still bewildered how it ever got to this point and he feels a lot of pressure in deciding between his parents and myself and that I've pretty much given him an ultimatum. I just about blew it and told him there was absolutely no pressure to decide, that he should always be on my team without hesitation, and that saying this to me is so messed up I can't even think. I said, this goes more to show that we need couples counseling really bad because what you just said is out of this world messed up.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
clearly he should have your back, but honestly, it sounds like all the abuse he went through, he doesn't even
doesn't even
comprehend or
understand, yeah.
know that that's what it
He
was.
doesn't understand. He's like, that was just my life. And that was
Yeah.
the norm. The
Yeah.
norm was that. So like, what
He's
do you-
just like, well, I don't understand why you're not okay with their behavior because I've had to be okay with it my entire life. So
yeah. So
it's kind of
sucks because it's not really his fault.
It's reading like a case of someone who straight up is not able to identify how toxic their parents' behavior
Yeah,
are.
exactly. Because that's what he grew up with. He literally grew up as a little boy and like he didn't know any better.
Yeah,
so
he's just like, this is normal.
This is normal. So I'm not trying to excuse his behavior of like, okay, well, you're kind of being dumb here and excusing your mother or the way she treats everyone is not a way, but it's not fair to say that because guess what? Again, he grew up in this. It's on his mother.
It's true.
His mother is the one who made him think like this. And I think it's going to hit him like a train when he realizes like, oh no.
Hopefully.
I think
the train is rolling into the station.
Yeah, I think he needs therapy himself other than the counseling with like couples counseling. He needs therapy of just like realizing, hey, what you went through,
Yeah.
that wasn't okay.
Yeah, that's not cool.
It wasn't.
All right. So after I said all that, he didn't have a response. I said to him, fine, if your mother gives me a sincere apology, then it will be their last chance to live here. But if she doesn't apologize or they pull another stunt, they are out the door ASAP. After a bit, he says, let's go downstairs and talk with them. We go downstairs. My husband sits at the table. I can't sit down. I have to move. I'm so nervous and shaky. His father is already at the table eating breakfast, and his mother comes down for a second. We see her going back up the stairs, and I say, mother-in-law, we really need you to come down and discuss some things. I let my husband speak. He apologizes that while we have not been the greatest hosts, it's small potatoes compared to what has been happening, and that the option is there for them to leave. I interjected and said, again, I'm sorry about what happened at the Easter egg hunt, but I need an apology for your 2 days of abusive behavior ignoring me if you want to stay here and move forward. Mother-in-law was shocked that I asked for an apology, literally jaw-dropping shocked. Father-in-law was also very shocked. I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, what is up with these people? Mother-in-law says, I did nothing wrong. Not speaking to you for 2 days is not abusive. I interrupt and say, you are wrong. It's abusive. it's passive aggressive, and it's highly manipulative. I want an apology. Father-in-law says that he agrees with his wife that there was no abuse that happened. My husband was silent. I said we need to communicate better instead of giving people the silent treatment. She goes on a rant about how actions speak louder than words. Irony, anyone? And I swear to the flying spaghetti monster, she says, communication and talking is a psychiatric claptrap. So, once again, she uses my mental illness to invalidate what I have to say. I turn to my husband and say, how do I even try to work through this? He then starts to speak up again and actually backs me up about the bad communication going on. He explains numerous examples of how she would talk about things that made no sense, and we would all try to figure out what she was trying to convey. For example, she wants my daughter to start going to an expensive daycare a few days a week, which is very strange because she has always been anti-daycare, saying that people should stay home with their kids. Neither my husband nor I could figure out where the heck she was coming from until we later figured out that she feels like she is spending too much time babysitting my daughter, and I need to step up more. If she had just said that instead of all of us trying to figure this out, it could have gotten resolved much quicker. I honestly can't remember how the rest went down detail by detail. At one point, I tried to explain an example of their passive aggressiveness and how it enrages me. My mother-in-law would laugh when she thinks I've done something incorrect with my child and says, I don't know what child rearing book you read that from, but that's not the way to do it. She then interrupts me to reply, well, what books have you read about child raising? I told her to stop taking the conversation down a different road. That wasn't the point, and she knows it. My husband says that he agrees with me about their passive aggressive behavior and that he can think of another example of it. Some days ago, I promised my daughter a juice box. My father-in-law grumbled about it, but I ignored it. A few minutes later, I said to my daughter, here is your juice box, in which father-in-law says, that's not good for her and you should have let her forget it. Present tense. My husband then says to both of them, I was the one that bought those juice boxes in the first place, and we both don't give a dang about some 90-calorie juice box she can have every once in a while. But this passive-aggressive behavior about how we raise our child has got to stop this instant. Which I agree. I think your child.
Good on the husband.
Yes.
The husband's understanding the process now. Like he's slowly, like you said, the train station is the train's at the train station.
The train is at the station. When my mother-in-law finally sees that my husband is backing me up and not allowing her to abuse me further, she finally gets up and says, historically, well, I am just a bad mother-in-law who's a and I'll just have to deal with being that person.
God.
We're moving out and going back home, and then stomps off.
Here we go.
Again, that's manipulation.
Yeah, I was like, she's going to pull that card.
You are manipulating.
I'm the bad one. I'm the bad one. So now you make me feel bad. Now I'm going to make you feel bad.
You're not allowed to say anything bad about me, or you're going to be the bad guy, and I guess I'm bad forever, and everyone hates me. Boo. Stop it. We see what you're doing. Stop it. They packed up their stuff. They spoke to my husband privately upstairs while I was downstairs with my daughter. My husband didn't budge, and they kept on packing. I was very uncomfortable with this whole situation and asked if I could take my daughter to a playground and then come back when they're done so they can tell her goodbye. My husband just said for me to take a break and go to a coffee place to get a breather from all of this, and he would watch our daughter. About 30 minutes later, they leave. The rest of the day, my husband is very depressed and still in shock by what happened. He tells me he's still processing what just went on. My stomach was tied in knots about this whole deal, but as the day got longer and there was no stress to deal with my in-laws, that pressure just lifted away. I am just totally relieved that they are gone. My husband is scared about the consequences of these actions with his parents. He should be more scared by what could have happened if he had taken their side, which leads me to another messed up thing my husband said and why we desperately need couples therapy. Hours after the in-laws are gone, he says to me, you used to like to watch the show Intervention where they gang up on the person to go into substance and booze treatment. Why do you think it's okay for that kind of ganging up to occur, but that it's not okay for my parents and I to gang up on you? I think to myself, Jesus effing Christmas, what the absolute F is this crap? My response was, I can't believe you are comparing a show about substance abuse to what happened this past week. The people on Intervention are people who were breaking the law, physically harming themselves and harming others. I have not harmed myself with what's been going on, and I sure as heck haven't harmed others. I have also broken no laws. What planet are you from that you can try to conflate those two things? He had no answer to that and walked away. We need couples therapy. He should be angry that his parents put us through this crap, and he is just mopey and depressed. And honestly, yeah, you guys need couples therapy, but he probably needs some individual therapy before.
Yeah, like I said, This guy needs therapy because
Yeah,
he
needs it broken
his
down.
brain is being wired completely differently now that he's going against his mother, especially his mother, but going against both his parents.
He is not allowed to do that.
Yeah, and just trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong, and trying to put those wires into the right spots now. And he's definitely like, I need someone to guide me.
Yeah, he
needs someone.
He's
to help.
having a hard time.
He needs someone to help untangle those wires and like, all right, this is clarity. This is what you actually need to do. He seems like at one moment he has it, in the next moment he doesn't. And I get it. He is being torn, but he needs to understand that his parents are in the wrong. And
Yeah,
he does in a sense, but then he's like, wait.
But it's the training. It's the creases in the paper. It's like once a piece of paper has been folded, and you fold it. And you fold it again, that's what's been happening to him his whole life. His mom, there's that crease. It's really hard for the paper not want to fold back into that same pattern. So you gotta start making a new crease here. I'm not going to insult him for what he's feeling, but it makes me still feel like I'm the bad guy. And by the way, we would never think you're the bad guy. If you listen to full episodes with stories like this one, all you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from and search
Okay, Story
Time.
Wow.
Yeah, and there you can find a whole lot of stories to listen to.
I got a lot.
And we do have a little bit of story left. Let's just go ahead
Go straight into
and
it.
go right into
I
it
hope
here.
The husband gets some therapy.
Later this evening, we both got an email from my mother-in-law that said, I am deeply sorry and saddened by any unhappiness my words or actions have caused either of you. Never did I mean to make life more difficult for you. The hope was always to be of help. The help was offered with abiding love, and I know you both to be good parents. Your deep love for your child is the best thing any child can have. Neither my husband nor I know what to say to her at this point. We're both mentally exhausted, and it'll wait until the morning. And that is the end of that story. Honestly, I would say move forward knowing how she is and just
I would say this.
leave it at that.
I would say this. Just stop playing with her games. She loves playing these mental games and see what she can get a kick out of it. And that's what she like feeds off of. That's what I can tell from her character. She just likes these mental games and she likes to play with people, and just don't play with her games. So she's like, okay, that's how you're
Just a very vanilla response to that email, just being like, oh, thank you. It's very nice. We'll see you whenever. Don't feed into the arguments. Don't feed into the petty.
Don't
feed into her little
Yeah.
comments. Just don't give her any energy back.
Yeah, exactly. Because once you put the energy into it, it's gonna get more negative energy out of it.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to put more energy.
That's the way I would deal with this while still keeping
Unfortunately,
her
at bay.
in the fold, so to speak.
Because guess what? That horse is. She's never getting off that high horse.
I congratulated my uncle's ex-wife on her remarriage. Now my family's furious.
I mean, what's
Just
it
be
to be mad
nice.
about? You're just congratulating.
First things first, sorry for the spelling mistakes. English is not my first language, and this is going to be a little long because it's a little messy. We like messy. So, my uncle Adam, 38, and his ex-wife Bianca, 36, got married 12 years ago. I'm 23 now, so I don't remember much because I was really young back then. But what I remember is it was a complete shock for us. We live 8 hours away from them, so we weren't really in on events. When I was young, we used to visit my grandma for like 10 days in a year, and as far as I know, Adam was a complete playboy.
Oh, wow.
By the way, this comes from Say Wadey on the OK Storytime subreddit. Adam always had girls in his life. I remember meeting countless girlfriends of his. I even remember one that was really rich and wanted to marry him and support him for all of his life. And another one that is super sweet, but a single mom. Adam broke up with her just because her kid called him dad one time. Dang.
I mean, low key,
I mean, that's a pretty big responsibility.
if I'm not ready to be in that relationship like that and the kid starts calling me dad, I'm gonna be like, it's over. I'm sorry.
But I feel like you have to take a minute before you get into a relationship with a single mom and be like, am I?
True.
Yeah.
Or maybe just like be really mean to the kid.
Yeah, just-
okay,
yeah.
no, don't do that. God, it was a joke.
So he would fool around a lot. One day, Grandma called us and let us know that he was getting married. We were shocked. As far as I learned later on, Adam and Bianca met in their workplace. Bianca was an accountant and Adam was a driver. She was actually engaged when they first met, but when Adam heard this, he just said, no problem, I can break them up. Dang,
Wow.
Adam, what the frick?
Wow.
And he really managed to do so. Adam,
How hot is Adam?
gotta be really hot. But when Bianca's family heard about this, they were furious, and my grandpa was also furious. So they demanded they get married. My uncle resisted a little bit, but finally said yes, even though it was never his intention to marry her. When we first met Bianca, I loved her. She was funny, beautiful, and she loved me. You should marry her. This was pretty much enough for me because my father's side didn't used to love me very much. That's sad. Due to me being the second child and a girl, my grandma loves boys and she thinks second children are unnecessary.
Dang, Grandma.
So I felt like I had found my ally in that side of the family finally. When they were getting married, they moved to the apartment just under my grandparents. It was also theirs and they didn't want to pay rent and thought this was a good decision. Big mistake. My grandma was horrific to Bianca because she thought she didn't deserve her precious little boy and he could have done so much better than her. The wedding was chaotic. Nobody helped them get settled because my grandma told everyone they did not want to get disturbed. She had an opinion about everything in the wedding, etc., etc.
Oh, God, shut up.
Grandma, go outside. Take a time out.
Touch the grass, Grandma.
3 months after the wedding, we learned Bianca is pregnant. It was a little early for it, but anyways, 10 months later, my first cousin was born. A beautiful baby girl.
Oh.
After this, my grandma was even more horrific because she hates girls.
No, why does Grandma hate girls?
Bianca later told me that she would never take care of her even when she does need to handle an errand or something. She would always watch them from the balcony because they live right below her. Tracking everywhere they go and every visitor they have.
I lord over these children as the matriarch of the family, and I refuse to lift a finger. I watch them fall, and I snicker to myself. I say,
Dynasties fall at my hands.
and then she thinks she's like Caesar. She's up there just like with the thumb going, no, I let you run into traffic.
Try to eavesdrop from the floor and more and more. She even caught her trying to cast a religious spell on them for them to break up.
Religious spells don't exist. That's called that's a witch's curse.
But whenever she tried to confront Adam, he always took his mama's side. This started to really get the relationship on the edge. They started to fight a lot, and Grandma started to call us and tell us about it all the time. Another thing about Grandma, she always thinks she's an angel sent from above. So she said she never understands why they fight. And Bianca's just trying to pick fights.
Excuse me, ma'am. You casted a spell to break them up.
That's you.
Spellcaster.
Years have passed like this, and we were actually expecting when they will divorce, but they have made the dumbest decision I ever heard in my life. They did the second child to save their marriage. Yeah, the classic second child to save your marriage move.
Classic. We'll have another
Hail
one.
Mary pass.
And we'll make them fix it.
It only made things worse. My second cousin, Miranda, is also a girl. And just after having Miranda, in 40 days, Bianca's mother and father passed away just 2 weeks apart. That is so hard.
Dang.
So she was postpartum and lost both of her parents in a heartbeat. This made everything worse, and their fights became even worse. When Miranda was 3, they noticed she's on the autism spectrum. This made everything harder, and Bianca told Adam if they don't move out, they're getting a divorce. Because all this time, they're still living under the grandma.
Right.
Who hates girls.
And also, it sounds like Grandma did cast the spell, and the spell worked. Hello.
Yeah, you lost both of your parents.
Your grandma just casted a unaliving spell on your parents, Bianca.
That you should get out of there while you can.
And that again, witch. That's a witch, an evil witch.
So they did move out for 6 months. Then they couldn't handle the rent, so they came back. Oof. Later, we learned that they actually got divorced on these days, but continued to live together, and this actually made the relationship a little better. On to the last, it's like a little bit better.
Just a little splash of divorce can actually make a relationship flourish.
They got. I didn't really understand that line. They got divorced, and they were like, actually, kind of helped them.
Maybe they mean that they separated.
Yeah. Because
divorce is a lot more final than that.
Later, we learned that they actually got divorced on these days, but continued to live together. I don't know. On to the last year, Bianca and Adam had a huge fight. Plates were shattered, children were afraid, that kind of fight. Bianca left home and rented herself a place. She took Miranda with her, and my other cousin was with Adam, but after 8 months, she returned. What happened with the other girl?
Wait, and she took Miranda?
She took Miranda, but not her other kid? Oh, no, sorry. My other cousin, meaning her other daughter,
Oh, yes.
was with
right.
Adam. So they
Okay.
split the kids up?
Yes, and I don't know about that.
On this August, I went to my grandma's place alone. It was my dad's idea, but because I really couldn't get along with my grandma, I spent most of my time at Adam and Bianca's place. Let me tell you, it was horrible.
You don't say.
I can imagine it probably would be. They fought all the time. Bianca later told me that Adam never helped her during this 8 months because moving out was her choice. With Miranda being in the spectrum and having special needs, she couldn't afford both rent and her with her minimum wage job. So she had to come back on the condition that they cannot be anything more than friends anymore. But Adam constantly tried to get back together. Bianca also showed me some videos a friend of hers sent of Adam dancing intimately with a group of women from her workplace. She said he cheated on her constantly and she doesn't want to go back.
Oh, wow.
Don't go back.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it. Also, for the time I was there, Adam was horrific. One day we went out to get a couple beers in a local pub and he was making remarks like, I can get whoever I want, but I just don't want to. Or point out to a couple and say, that guy's too good for her. She's probably keeping him with spicy sleep. Or I could get any girl, but there's no good women left over the age of 25 and under is just too young for me. Blah, blah, blah.
Yo, this guy sounds so cool.
He's like, I could get literally any woman I want, but I don't want any of
He's
them.
like, yeah, honestly, every girl on earth under the age of 25 has been ruined, but all the girls over the age of 25 are too old for me.
They're
So
too old, so I can't do it for you.
did I tell you that I also made a joke the other day? Everyone stood up and clapped.
Everyone in the whole room clapped, and then they made me the king.
Yeah, they made me king of the room.
And I turned it down. I said, I don't want to be king. That's too much.
I'm too humble to be the king.
Apparently, he was wasted. They had a fight. He prepared her luggage and kicked her out with Miranda at 3 a.m. Kicked his own daughter out?
What a monster.
Bianca has no family in the city, so she went and stayed at a friend's house for the night. By the way, you can always stay with us every weekday on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile and join us live.
Do that.
And there is a little bit left, but what are your thoughts?
This this guy is clearly not good.
No, he's a horrible person, and he's actively been a horrible person all of OP's life.
So I think that the move is like you gotta leave this guy.
You gotta leave
and
him.
you gotta stay gone, which I think is already been done. But now it's more like a trying to like make it work in like a friends only type thing. But like I think you just gotta get this guy out of your life and have him like legally support you in another way.
Yeah, get the child support if you can.
Without his presence.
Because he's just a nightmare. But there's a little bit left. 1 week has passed and my mom told me that Bianca is getting married tomorrow.
No.
1 week since he kicked her out? I mean, they were already divorced, but 1 week since she got kicked out of her home?
Well, who was she marrying?
I was shocked, but learned after Adam kicked her out, she returned to her hometown. A guy there wanted to marry her even before she met Adam and was also divorced and still wanted to marry her.
Whoa.
She declined before, but after the latest events, she told him fine, and they got married.
Bianca!
Girl, that's a rebound marriage?
Bianca, you don't do that.
A rebound marriage?
That is not healthy.
This all happened a month ago, and Bianca posted the photos of the wedding on Insta. I DM'd her and congratulated her. Okay.
God, I mean, I think the most telling thing is the way that she wrote that, where she was like, he was like, I still want to marry you. And she was like,
I guess.
I mean, fine.
You're here. You're the only one here. She was always on my side, did very good things for me, so I wished her a beautiful new start and told her that I am here if she needs me. Now all my family is furious with me.
What?
Apparently, Adam is furious with Bianca for getting married this quick. I mean, I would be kind of shocked.
Yeah, I mean, you can be shocked,
Yeah.
but hello, you don't get to
No,
decide
you
that
guys
anymore.
divorced.
Well, go dance with another group of ladies.
Literally. And all of the family thinks everything is Bianca's fault, and I'm betraying my uncle by congratulating her. So am I the a-hole? Sorry, I wasn't expecting it to be this long, even though I summarized it many times. And that's the end of that story.
Why is your this is
Your
already
family's
so
weird.
messed up.
Yeah, like your uncle's behavior is just terrible, and your family seems to all be siding with him.
Which I don't understand why. I don't
get that.
I don't think there's even any need to like choose sides in this situation. It's just like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You reached out to somebody just to say congratulations, even though it's
Also,
like
this is like on Instagram. This is not, they didn't meet up for coffee. OP wasn't like, I hate my uncle and I support you forever.
Right, it's just
it was just like a
DM.
congratulations. Yeah.
It's crazy. Why is your family so toxic?
Your family's crazy. But that's the end of that story. So we'll see you next time
On the next one.